Sure, the stream is good and going. Slowly, gently, this is how life is taken. Okay, it says I'm live. Visually looks fine. Does it sound good? Okay, it says sounds good for me, but I'll be quiet for a moment to see if we've got gameplay audio. Yes, we do indeed have gameplay audio, so hello, people of the internet. It is I, Soul Rack Dragon here, back with more Fate Stay Night Remaster, where today we may or may not end up... excuse me. We may or may not end up finishing the Fate route. We are on day number 14 here right now, it looks like. I think I just saved when the day came over, so we gotta be getting close, though, to the end of it all. I mean, because there is no more Herc, no more Emiya, no more Media, and presumably no more Kojiro. Herc, Emiya, Media, Kojiro. That's 4 servants down. I'm probably missing somebody. I'm totally missing somebody. I'm blanking right now. Turn down the volume. Medusa's also gone. That's who I was missing. Yeah, so 5 servants down, 2 remain, plus the extra. But we'll be getting into the extra here shortly. We're going to start day 14, where Shiro Emiya is waking up after deciding he was going to take Saber on a date today. So that's a decision to make, you know, when the war is reaching its fever pitch. That's definitely a decision to make, is all I'll say on the matter. Then, there's some context that I'm missing, that I don't remember. I think he had a dream or something, maybe. Feels right. The next thing I know, it's morning. Pathetic. I couldn't sleep a wink. If the next thing you remember it's morning, that tends to imply that you've slept. I sigh and turn off the ringing alarm clock. Today, no matter what she says, Saber and I are going out on a date. That's kind of not a good mindset to have there, Shiro. Just saying. My first priority will take her to plenty of places, so she'll have a chance to enjoy herself. I've been trying to search my mind for the perfect spot, but before I could come up with anything, my alarm went off. I turned the alarm clock on, That's not proper grammar. I'd turned the alarm clock on just in case. I did turn the alarm clock on. I would turn the alarm clock on. No matter how you phrase it, that is improper grammar. Wow, game devs. Wow. Or not game devs. Wow, game translators. Wow. As hard as I tried, I still couldn't think of anything last night, so I borrowed an alarm clock from Tosaka, figuring I might have to pull an all-nighter. Not that it's done any good. Come to think of it, I've never been on a date. I sigh again. That's sort of a problem. I'm nervous enough, plus I didn't sleep, but I think the worst part is how shocked I am that after staying up all night to think about it, I couldn't come up with a single thing a girl might like. Fine, I'm gonna leave it to chance. I'm just gonna take her all over the place, and she'll learn what it's like to have a good time. I'll just take her to cute shops. Well, I feel like there's a fundamental flaw in that plan, but I've already made up my mind. There's nothing else I can think of, but what this all boils down to is that today's gonna be a day packed with fun, and it'll go on until Saber says she's had enough. There is so much wrong with that mindset, Shiro. So much. So, Elia's Veil's not woken up yet. This is probably because she has 5 servants inside of her. No, she's still asleep. It doesn't look like she's going to wake up anytime soon, so you two got lucky there. If Ilia were awake, she would have followed Shiro around and gotten in your way. Hey, J6, welcome. Welcome to the stream. How be things? Yes, we cannot have her accompany Shiro like she has been doing. Things may have taken on an unexpected turn last night, but today we shall go and search for the remaining masters. Shiro does not have time to be taking care of Ilias Vale. Seba. Seba. You know there is one other servant. What the hell do you mean, the other masters? I swear. I think Seba's been dumbed down by being around Shiro so much. But, I'll never finish Fate Route because you'll never give me permission. Who says I need your permission? Congrats on getting Summer Ibuki. Was she the one you were going for? Out of curiosity? J6? Was Summer Ibuki the one you were going for? Because I got the one I was going for. I got NP2 Arash at long last. Yes, I got NP2 Arash, and then while rolling for NATO Burrito, I got spooked by Seba. I didn't even know she could be on there, but Seba spooked me. You want a Musashi or Morgan? So not a pleasant spook then. Well, I wasn't talking about her getting in the way like that, but oh well. It's not my place to tell you exactly what you're doing. This is you and Shiro's problem. Tosaka laughs mischievously. I'm not surprised at that. I'm really not surprised that you are subtracting points off of Seba. Your vendetta for her is well known in these parts, J6. Very well known. Indeed, it is indeed known. I will subtract from Seba here in a little bit. A problem between Shiro and I? It's funny because you specifically came to the stream that is the end of the Fate route, which is Seba's route. You're gonna really enjoy when we have to end her in Heaven's Feel, aren't you? We finished breakfast, and it seems like a good time to leave. Saber is ready to look for masters, but I'm determined to execute my plans as well. About that, Saber. We're going to go to the neighboring town today. If you have to get ready, I want you to do it now. Also, J6, you've never played the Fate route, right? Like, just to clarify, you've never played the Fate route of Fate Stay Night, have you? Are we going to go search for masters? I would suggest we go to the suburbs instead of the neighboring town. That's not what we're doing. The two of us are going to go out and have fun today. So there's no point in us going to the suburbs. Saber freezes. I love how Rin is just cracking a gut, busting a gut in the background there. I tried to ignore the sound of Tosaka trying and largely failing to control her laughter behind me. I'll get her for that. Later. Shiro, I do not understand. It is not you and Rin going out to have fun, but... if I'm going, you're the only one who could come with me, Seba. Tosaka's gonna stay back and watch Ilias, so she has nothing to do with this. This is ridiculous. You and I going to the next town to investigate will yield nothing. There's no point to this. What are you trying to accomplish here? Saber's pretty clearly frustrated. I kind of figured something like this would happen, but things are looking even bleaker than I thought since she clearly thinks we're going out to town to search for masters. This is rough. I'm being really clear, but you still don't get it. Saber, I'm trying to ask you on a date. I ignore Tosaka's stare as I speak to Saber. Okay, there we go. Saber is down by 3. She is now 1 space lower on the level up order, just below Prince of Lanling. And now I can close that because it is lagging me the frick out. I have no idea why, but I'm lagging hard on my laptop just by opening the level up order dock. I'm not sure how much Saber understands. I do not understand what you mean. Can you clarify, Shiro? So I cannot see if you're speaking to me, by the way, right now, J6, or if anybody else is here and speaking to me, because everything is going at a snail's pace. Okay, you've watched the route by Studio Dean. Yes, Ku is still alive as far as I'm aware. I don't know. Somebody put him down to -6. Somebody has put Prince of Lon... No, my bad, -3. Prince of Lonling is at -3 right now. I don't understand what you mean, Shiro. So, let's see how far back I can go. Will it let me... Okay, let me see if this can make you feel a little bit of pity for Saber. So, per Shiro Amiya's lines, gonna leave it to chance, I'm gonna take her all over the place, and she's going to learn what it's like to have a good time. There's a fundamental flaw in my plan, but I've made up my mind. There's nothing else I can think of, but this all boils down to is that today is going to be a day packed with fun, and Saber is going to keep going until she says she's had enough. Look how... What kind of thought process do you have to have? Like, that's kind of messed up levels of mentality from Shiro there. I'm gonna make her have a good time one way or another. That's kind of messed up levels of mentality from Shiro. So I think Fate Shiro is not only the dumbest, but he might also be the most misogynistic. I don't understand what you mean. Can you clarify, Shiro? She looks even more irritated. And suddenly it's like a switch flips in my head. There's no sense beating around the bush here. It'd be best if I were just blunt with her. Sure, if you tell me to go to town, then I will obey. However, I would appreciate it if you explain what the purpose of this date is. Yes, they are all dumb, but remember, we had this discussion before, how the Fate route Shiro is the dumbest of all Shiros. He gradually gets smarter in the different routes. No matter how familiar I am with this age, there are terms I still do not know. Please, do not use technical terms without explaining them. It's not really a technical term. I can teach you if you don't know, but a date is when someone goes out and has fun with a girl. Wow! I mean, look at this logic from Shiro frickin' Emiya. That is, I know. I mean, like, he is more... We've had this discussion, J6, you and I, how, depending on the route, determines how dumb Shiro is. Fate route Shiro's the dumbest, followed by Unlimited Blade Works, who's a bit smarter, and Heaven's Feel is a little bit smarter still. So, you know. Wow, look at that line. A date is when someone goes out and has fun with a girl. That is such an oversimplification and such a... Gosh, what, misnomer or something along those lines of it? Huh? Saber goes completely still. A girl, do you mean me? She's dazed now, muttering. When I nod yes, Saber looks even more confused. I understand the meaning of the word now, but I still do not understand your intentions. For what reason would you do such a thing? I wasn't expecting this question. Shiro. He also has very little emotional depth, it seems. Very little emotional depth. I thought he was smarter in some of the other routes, you know? I mean, I know what the point of a date is, but now that I'm on the spot and Saber wants me to explain it to her face, well... she's confused because you're using an unusual term. Drop date and just use a term that's easier to understand. Listen, Saber, a date basically means a tryst. Shiro may be talking about going out and having fun, but what he's really getting at here is the whole wanting to attract the attention of the girl he likes thing. There we go. Rin is, of course, the smart one. I cough loud. Tosaka may be right, but I'm pretty confident that a date and a tryst are two very different things. But I don't think it's worth mentioning. From her reaction, it looks like Saber finally understands what a date is. Exactly, Saber. We're going to head to town and we're not going to fight. We can't fight during the day anyway because there are people around. So there should be no problem with us spending the day however we want. That may be true, but this seems pointless. I can see nothing that you will gain from doing such a thing. That's not entirely true, and I wouldn't mind if it were. I've decided to spend the day with you, Saber, so don't worry about me. We're to go out to town, and that's that. Nothing you can say will change my mind, Saber. I look at her straight in the eye. Saber ponders for a while, looking serious. Then, even if I refuse, will you be heading out to town on your own? Yep, I'm definitely going, or everything I spent all night thinking about would be a waste. Can't fight during a day is true. Very true. Shiro should know better, considering that is the kind of thought process that nearly got him killed, like, so many different times by Shinji and Medusa. I honestly can't even remember how many different bad ends were based around that particular instance. Then I cannot allow you to go unaccompanied. I'm your servant, and so cannot leave my master alone. True, that is another good point. Possible set up battlefields to hide away from public? Very true. And I mean, even fighting only at night doesn't have the best logic to it. I mean, the Fourth Holy Grail War, when Caster Giles literally summoned an eldritch abomination in a river, you know, that's not exactly being subtle. Night or day is not going to make too much of a difference there. After taking a deep breath, Saber answers in her usual manner. Yeah, okay. That could have gone better, but at least I've managed to convince her to come out. I shouldn't sweat the small stuff at this point. Have fun. Bring back something nice. As we step outside, I make a rude gesture at Tosaka, since she made fun of me up until the very end. So, what specifically are we going to do, Shiro? I mean, not really though, because a lot of people think shady stuff tends to happen at night, which makes people more on guard for shady stuff at night. It's why shady stuff that happens during the day oftentimes ends up being the more commonly gotten away with thing, because people aren't expecting shady stuff to happen during the day, and thus their guards are down. Now let's just head to the neighboring town. We'll catch the bus at the intersection. True, anti-army, anti-fortress would still cause a lot of chaos. Indeed, indeed. The hilly path is unusually quiet. It's a little past 9 in the morning on a weekday, and the town is starting to come alive, but it must be a little bit early to heading out somewhere. Wow, Shiro is skipping school to go on a date? Wow, what would Taiga say? Excuse me. There's no one on the road. It's like we have the road all to ourselves. Now that I think about it, I don't feel guilty about skipping school anymore. I've been cooped up in the house these past few days. Wow. Shiro Emiya is becoming a delinquent. He said it's a weekday. Of course, you are a master, so you should not be walking around so casually. Saber's tone is sharp. Saber falling behind me is nothing new, but it feels different today. I feel this immense pressure directed at me, and that's putting it mildly. Plus, I'm pretty sure... some delay. I'm pretty sure Japan, there's only Sunday as their weekend. Or Sunday is the only day that they don't go to school fully, and Saturday's like a half day or something. I can tell Saber's gonna be tough to handle. We get on the bus. It would have been stuffed with people about an hour ago, but there's only a handful of people using it now. The only people on the bus are old women with children, so it feels like we have a place to ourselves. Saber, let's sit at the very back. I'm pretty sure that's the case, J6. I'm pretty sure that's the case. I don't know for certain. Just from what I can remember reading at various points in time, that tends to be how it goes. I call out to Saber, who for some reason tries to sit at the front of the bus and lead her to the wider seat at the back. Saber quietly looks out over the passing scenery. I steal a glance at her and realize how crazy I am for what I'm trying to do today. Taking the bus to a nearby town is an ordinary thing for me, but here in this ordinary place, something extraordinary is happening. Or, well, I'm finding myself questioning whether I'm actually doing this whole date thing. My mind starts spinning and whirling like some complex cube puzzle. Ah, crap, I'm getting really nervous. It's kind of getting out of control. Medusa's best in FSN. Medusa's definitely the most underrated FSN servant. To be honest, it's kind of sad how little, like, anything Medusa and Medea have gotten in any kind of Fate work following the main Fate trilogy. I mean, you could argue Medusa has some development with her Gorgon and her Lily persona being shown off in FGO, but... And I mean, I'm pretty sure Medusa has a decent spot in Hollow Atraxia, which just means that Medea has been just shafted, which is kind of sad. I take a deep breath to calm myself down so Saber wouldn't notice. But then, and I know this is stupid, I take another look at Saber. My heart skips a beat. You should get that checked out, Shiro. I hardly recognize Saber as she sits next to me. Or, well, it's less that I don't recognize her than it is that the situation itself is unrecognizable. It makes me realize that she is something else. She is different. I didn't realize it when we were at home. This ordinary everyday life to me this ordinary everyday life seems to me like it's become something entirely new and different just because Saber is here. Wow, Shiro Emiya has a very keen observation ability. Clearly. Her golden blonde hair, her green eyes, those alone are enough to make her overwhelmingly beautiful. It hadn't really crossed my mind since I hadn't had much to compare her to. Wow, Shiro clearly has a type. Gold hair, green eyes. I remember the first time I met Saber. I must have been avoiding her just because I was too embarrassed to admit that I was admiring Saber. No matter what Saber says, to me, she's a girl before she's a swordsman. That is not a good thing to say to Saber. I didn't know how to react to her, and I didn't understand my feelings for her. I have to admit, I know it sounds stupid. I've developed trust and affection for Saber past the point of no return, and now I've decided to go on a date with her. The order of events is all backwards. Now as I get off the bus... Wow. Translation team, that is such an easy error to catch. Bus does not have two S's. Like, come on, translation team, that's an easy one to catch. That one is so easy. Also, the whole order of events is all backwards. I feel like it is missing some context with how they did the mana transfer ritual in the remaster compared to the original, from what I understand, since in the original that the whole order of events is backwards would make more sense, because generally you don't sleep with someone and then date them. You generally date someone and then sleep with them. At least that was the case back in the time when the game was released. But that's okay. I can only give it my all, so I can't very well take it all back and cower in fear now. I calm myself and try to shake off my ridiculous apprehension. The bus crosses the bridge and drives towards the development area and its mass of tall buildings. I breathe out, almost whistling, and ready myself. The familiar bus announcement tells us that we've arrived at Shinto Station. So why'd you guys have to take a bus here? It's only 9 in the morning, but the area around the station is busy. Is it because you wanted to arrive here in 0 time? You set out at 9 in the morning, and it's still only 9 in the morning? Is that like a magic bus that can distort time itself? Most of the shops here don't open up until around 10, but cafes and smaller bookshops are starting to open up. There are already more people here than you'd expect in Miyama, even if it were a weekend. We get off the bus and Saber looks around the area, displeased. I don't blame her. She hasn't really agreed to the whole date thing, and everyone is staring at her now. That just makes it worse. She didn't agree to go out on a date, but Shiro essentially said, well, I'm going out one way or another, so you better follow me. Like, good lord, Shiro, you are acting so bad. I doubt she loves that. Crap, I should have figured this might happen if I brought Saber here in the morning. But this discomfort is bound to follow us around all day. The only cure for this I can think of is Saber enjoying herself so much she forgets all the awkwardness. Alright. I smack my fist into my hand and look over to Saber. Saber, before we start, is there anywhere you'd like to go? We came all the way out here, so we can do whatever you want today. Shiro. Saber literally knows nothing about this town. How the hell do you expect her to want to do anything or go anywhere specific? Yes, she was here 10 years ago or so in the other Grail War, but she did not likely get the chance to go out and have fun. Good lord, Shiro Amiya is a dumbass. No, there's nothing. This place holds no particular interest to me, and I have little to no knowledge about it with which to make other decisions. Is it just stating the obvious here that I'm doing, or is that just like the logical conclusions? Are you sure? Oh, this is gonna be tough. Then I really do just have to wing it. If you don't want to go anywhere, and I don't know where to go, things are looking kind of grim. I hope you're not saying you have made no plans for today, Shiro. I have some plans, but they're a little light on details. For the time being, let's hit up as many shops as we can. That's kinda hard to do. I know some stores I'd enjoy, but I have no idea what girls like. Shiro, stop thinking of Saber as a girl and just think of Saber as Saber. Ugh. Is this adult me? Is this just like adult perspective being exasperated at an idiot kid taking somebody on a date? Like, I'm pretty sure even at that age, I wasn't so oblivious to think, okay, we're only gonna do things that girls like to do on a date. What do girls like to do? You do what they want to do. You do things that they would enjoy personally, not just stereotype, okay, girls like going dress shopping. We're going dress shopping. Like, that's so... Yes, Fate Zero, Saber didn't go out entire summoned, except to stand as his bodyguard to Illyria. They did go to the beach. I do recall, I don't know if it's in the manga version of Fate Zero, but at the very least in the anime, they did go to a beach because Iri wanted to experience a beach for the first time in her life, rather than the cold Russian winter wonderland? I'm pretty sure they're from Russia. Russia or Scandinavia. Excuse me. Honestly, if I'd known this would have happened to me someday, it'd have been smart to go out with a girl from class at least once. I mean, empty beaches are pretty nice. They're peaceful and relaxing. I do not intend to object, but there is something wrong with you, Shiro. I would not have thought that much had you suggested to take a break, but that you have no plan for this interlude is completely ridiculous. Calling him out, that's so good. Crap, now Saber's in lecturing mode. This is the first time she's given me such an earful right outside the dojo. She wasn't into this from the start, and I figured all the people staring at her wouldn't help, but I didn't realize it was this bad. I've been waiting for the opportunity to bring up your lack of planning. You may be keenly aware of the people around you, but you care little for yourself. Consequently, you end up paying the price for your lack of self-regard. Hey, are you listening, Shiro? Wow, that's another faux pas of a date. You do not just zone out when the girl you're on a date, when the person you're on a date with is talking to you. I am. Bottom line is that you don't understand why you're here. Right, Saber? No shit, Sherlock. Yes, I was just making a generalization for, oh man, what's something girls enjoy? Oh, dress shopping, yeah. So for anything where I hang out with a girl on a date, going dress shopping is sure to be something she enjoys. No, you don't go with just general stereotypical, girls enjoy X, go do X. You go with, girls enjoy X, such and such enjoys Y, go do Y. I know the places I'm going to take you will bore you, so I don't blame you for not liking it. Shiro. It's not that, but I'm only saying that now is not the time for this kind of thing. I know that, but I'm also ignoring that since I've already decided to spend all day with... Shiro... Is this what it's like to watch a train wreck in progress? I'm not going to change my mind no matter what you say. That's that. Oh. I look straight at Saber. How is this the Saber route? I'm pretty sure in any, like, sensible scenario like this, that, this kind of attitude would get you slapped and never talked to again. I mean, same thing, J6, same thing, but even still, this is so bad. The only thing Saber can do is look back at me in shock. But if you have something to say, I'll at least hear you out. I'm sure you have some things to say, and I'd appreciate if you told me now. That way we don't have to worry about holding back later on. If you say you don't want to go on a date with me, I'll think of something else we can do. No, you don't need to go through all that trouble. She kind of said that right at the beginning, Shiro. She kind of said that right at the beginning. It's odd seeing Saber at a loss for words. Well, if you have nothing to say, then let's go. You don't get to get mad about where we go since you don't have any requests. Oh man. Maybe we should go to an aquarium. I hear those are popular. That sounds good. So I grab Saber's hand. Shiro, I'm not complaining, but I do not think it's necessary to hold hands. It's beyond bold. It's shameless, Shiro. Wow. Well, we're wasting time here, so we're going to run a bit, and I'll guide you to where we're going, so follow me and don't let go. Not like this. See, even Saber knows that holding hands is such an intimate thing. Shiro, you're just taking this the whole wrong direction, dude. I've been pretty clear with Saber, so no more being pathetic in front of her. For now, I just need to escort her to every place I can think of. Saber's hand in mine, I run through the crowd. Apparently, Saber's given up resisting, as she just follows obediently. It's a little before 10 o'clock. We have 2 hours until lunchtime, so I'm going to make the most of that and really knock Saber's socks off. I cannot tell you the last time I heard that phrasing. Of knocking somebody's socks off. That is a blast from the past. Those 2 hours were like a storm. First we tried a boutique I'd never normally go to, then we tried our hand at bowling while I taught her the rules. I couldn't find the aquarium, but we fed birds at the park. We visited an interesting antique shop that ended up being a lot of fun, and I maintained that not going to the movie theater was the right choice. Anyway, I spent the whole time taking her places I figured a girl might like, and it was 2 hours of failure and defeat. Boutique. Stereotypical, which, again, I had comments about that. Feeding birds at a park. That's okay. Oh, I forgot. A boutique. Bowling. Bowling is okay, Shiro. Antique shops. Boutique, bowling, bird feeding, antique shops. However I tried to spin it, the day wasn't really shaping up to be a date. It felt more like a battle to the death, in which the first person to give up loses. Wherever I took Saber, she acted exactly like she always has. Once in a while, she would fall so quiet I would start to worry she was truly angry. Her lack of reaction made it clear she was not having fun, which pushed me to try even harder each time. And so I ran all around the city, desperate to make Saber smile, but noon came before I actually accomplished anything. And, with Saber's reminder that it was lunchtime, I decided to take a short break. However, what is this place? I can't help but blurt out as we sit down. I suggest going to the coffee shop near the river for lunch. That was the only advice Tosaka gave me last night. So I did as she suggested and picked this restaurant, but I never imagined it would be so pretentious. Take a look at the menu. Luckily, the menu has Japanese translations next to all its foreign text, so I can at least figure out what the dishes are. The only problem is I've never even heard of any of these dishes, and the prices are outrageous. Or are we on Mars or something? I have no idea what to order. I stare at the menu and growl. I thought we came here to eat lunch. Saber looks and sounds a little concerned. Yeah, this is really not what I expected. Honestly, given how money-hungry Irene is, I would not be surprised if this is a place she owns and she's just trying to make a buck off of Shiro. I look up, and what I see is Saber looking like a cornered rabbit. If you're uneasy, we can head back to the mansion. I actually prefer the food you prepare, Shiro. Does that mean you want to go home? No, it's not that I want to go back, but I've been nervous all day and I'm more tired than usual. Really. I thought about going back out after we had lunch and a bit of a break, but if you're tired, maybe we should take a longer break here. No, that's not what I mean. Tired is not the right word. It's more like, well... Saber stops. Fortunately, I'm the only one who hears the faint squeak from her stomach. That was not a squeak. Oh, she could have just told me she was hungry. I'm sorry. What I'm trying to say is that I would appreciate it if we could eat lunch as soon as possible. Got it. Yeah, it may not be interesting, but let's order whatever looks okay here so we can get our food quick. It should be easy if a light snack is all we need. I order 2 things that seem like lunch dishes, and we quickly eat. While I'm drinking my after-meal coffee, I start thinking about what to do in the afternoon. What I learned this morning is that physical stuff like bowling is no good. Saber is extremely competitive. That in itself is good, but Saber's looks already draw enough attention. And when she gets like that, she stands out even more. After we finished the game, Saber got sulky because of all the attention she drew. So we're going to avoid physical activities. Hey Saber, I'm going to ask you again, is there anywhere you want to go? Dude, she already said she doesn't know anything. Me? No, nowhere in particular. I do not know my way around, so I will keep following you. Saber lifts her teacup as she speaks. She ordered black tea to have after her meal, and it seems she enjoys its flavor. I hardly serve black tea at home, and even if I did, it'd just be cheap tea bags. Saber must not have been this satisfied with the drinks I've been serving at home, since it looks like she prefers black tea. Well, I should be more mindful about that starting tonight. Saber isn't doing much, she's just drinking her tea. She doesn't seem particularly happy, but she doesn't exactly look bored either. Guess she's just being Saber. As sunlight pours in through the window, Saber sits up straight, gracefully sipping from her teacup. It's the first time I've seen her do this, but it seems so natural it's like I've seen it a million times before. I don't know why I'm thinking that. Saber, at least as I know her, is always serious, only focused on wielding her sword or fighting. I get it. It's only natural. I only think of her as the girl who takes up her sword the moment she sets her sword aside. Saber is always calm and gentle. The scene doesn't feel new or unnatural to me because it's just her being who she is. No matter how skilled a swordsman she is, Saber is just this is Saber just being normal. Or wielding her sword isn't what makes her exceptional. I once thought while I was dreaming that she was suited for fighting. I don't think I'm wrong there. No matter how great her sword skills are, no matter how many fields she's been on, as long as she was really herself, she couldn't have found a battlefield a comfortable place to be. That's why this is how it's supposed to be. Saber is not wielding a sword, she's just resting and unwinding. You know, at least Shiro has shown some growth by acknowledging that Saber is good at fighting. She belongs in this serene setting. And now he's being misogynistic and possessive again. Nothing changes in the afternoon. I take her to every shop I can think of, and Saber follows quietly. At least it's not as awkward as earlier in the morning. Either I'm getting used to the situation, or Saber's given up. She's still quiet, but the more I watch her, the more I notice she looks either angry or not angry, which is really confusing. Whenever I see Saber coming out of a store looking excited, I feel this sense of accomplishment. It makes me feel happy. Then, after a careful consideration of what Saber might like, I'm not certain, but I determine this is the shop most likely to please Saber. Saber stands in front of the store, mouth agape. I'm not sure if her shoulders are trembling because she's angry or excited. I just can't tell. Where are we? I hear this is the biggest stuffed animal shop in town. I've never been here since men aren't allowed. Okay. Obviously, it's not that men aren't allowed in the store. It's just that most of the customer base are girls, so there's this unspoken rule about men not going inside. Ah, got it. Besides, there are only girls in that store right now. Saber, with her beautiful blonde hair, is drawing attention while I'm drawing glares for being a guy. They must all be trying to keep me out of their sanctuary. And I can't agree more. Even I don't think guys should be in a store like this. Well, I've come all the way here, so don't hold back. Let's take a look around. Do you have a favorite animal, Saber? I suppose I find lions and leopards to be quite lovely. Do you find that strange? I find myself turning away and fighting not to laugh. I'm not sure why Saber liking lions is strange. Your reaction does not seem right. It fills me with an inexplicable sense of rage. Or is it my imagination? No, sorry, I couldn't help but laugh. A lion is just so perfect for you. What? It's not right to laugh at someone's preferences, Shiro, and there's nothing wrong with lions. And I said I'm sorry. To make it up to you, I'll take you somewhere good, so don't get mad. I try to fight down my laughter and walk into the store. Let's see, look like animal stuffed toys are over there. And it takes about an hour to get from one end of the store to the other. I watch in silence as Saber stares at the stuffed animals while I worry about the dozen or so sets of prying eyes on me from around the store. I've never been so exhausted as I am in all my life as I am today. That terrifying thing is that we've only made it through half the store. Saber frequently is paralyzed, that is, she often stops and stares at a stuffed animal. Even after all this time, we're only halfway through the store. She seems very interested in the other half of the store, so I guess I'll just hang around while she does what she wants here. Shiro, why are you sighing? Are you tired from walking so much? Yeah, I'm just a little tired. I usually don't get tired so easily, but today's special. Guess I should be careful about doing things I'm not used to doing. I heave a sigh. I don't mind people staring at us when we're just walking around, but I'm uncomfortable with it when we're in this girly shop. When you're mentally drained, the first part of your body that feels it is your legs. What about you, Saber? This must be your first time in a store like this. Let me know if you get tired. Yes, I'm a little uncomfortable, but you look far more so. Not only here, You did not seem uncomfortable. You did not seem comfortable in the previous shop, or the one before that. I hope you're not selecting places you do not wish to go. Suddenly, those words dispel all the worries and mental exhaustion I felt earlier. Yeah, honestly, I might have chosen a bunch of places I wouldn't normally go. I knew it. That is ridiculous, Shiro. You are aware of your own dislike, so why would you purposefully go there? You will... It's the sort of place girls like, right? I was the one who made you come out with me, and it's your day. Besides, it's not so bad since you're with me. I'm with a beautiful girl, so I don't look completely out of the place. All the stares directed at me aside. That's absurd. I may not be armed, but I am still a servant. Even if I'm not fighting, you need not treat me like a woman. You must treat me as a servant, as always. You're the one being absurd. You are a girl. I'm not trying to treat you differently today, unless you feel like I am. She's bewildered. Saber's mouth hangs open as if she's only just now realizing this. No, you are the same. You're acting the same as you always do. See, no need to worry about me. So let's keep going. If we're going to buy your favorite thing in here, we'll still need to see the other half of the store. I take Saber's hand. She offers no objection as I tug her along. And once again, grabbing her hand. Alright. Oh, that is right. It has always been like this. Do not know why I'm realizing this now. She murmurs to herself, sounding dazed and confused. The uncomfortable day passes by in a flurry. Saber never laughs, not once during the whole day. So neither do I. No part of the day was particularly memorable, but neither was there any painfully boring aspect. Basically, nothing significant happened. The way it went, maybe Saber would have been happy if we'd stayed in the dojo and trained together. But today wasn't all that bad either. Even if it didn't end up being all that exciting, I should be proud that I at least managed to take Saber around. After the war is over and once everything goes back to normal, I don't want to look back on all this and realize that all the time I spent with Saber was in combat. Even if this entire date was stupid, she needs to spend some time doing something other than fighting, or there's no point in her being here. So yeah, I should be proud of myself. The end is near. When everything is done and when there's no need to fight anymore, if Saber can look back on this moment, that's enough for me. Drink some water. We walk back home. Just as we're trying to get on the bus, I would prefer to walk home. Saber finally voices a preference. The winds are picking up. The brilliant sun paints the bridge red. Saber notices something, stops and looks over the bridge into the river. She's looking at a mountain of rubble. I say it's a mountain, but the pile really isn't all that high. Steel frames and other things are piled up just a little below the water level, and it's only slightly disturbing the flow of water of the river. I don't know what happened, but some boat probably sank, then pieces of it drifted here. I hear some of the neighboring residents have been complaining, trying to get rid of the pile since it's so unsightly. What is it, Saber? Did that catch your attention? It's nothing. I only noticed that it's still there. You see, I caused that. During the previous war, I was forced to do battle over the water, and I had to use my noble phantasm. The only damages were the river drying up, but fortunately it also struck a ship that was anchored there. Fortunately, it also struck a ship. Struck with Excalibur. Yes, fortunately there was nobody on board, and the damage was minimal. The river has gone back to normal, so I believe there's nothing to be upset over. Just, you know, destroyed a boat. No big deal. No big deal at all. Well, I feel bad about it, and regret it. ... I should be more careful. When we use Excalibur, I need to be mindful to use it somewhere there's a lot of open space, like out here. Excuse me. Shiro, are you still mad? No, I'm not mad. I was just surprised. Plus, it's a reminder that there are still remnants from the previous war. Compared to the wasteland at the Central Park, the mound of rubble in this river is nothing. Though I guess the ship's owner might not have come out of that so great. Please don't worry too much. Kiritsugu said the boat's owner had insurance, so they originally parked the ship with the intention of using it As a cushion to dampen the river's flow, the ship acted as a wall that mitigated the damages from my noble phantasm. Does that mean you destroyed the ship knowing it was there for that purpose? I was not aware. Kiritsugu had that prepared without my knowing. He must have been able to predict how the battle would turn out. I didn't know because he didn't say a word before or after he prepared the boat. And then Saber looks down on the river, probably thinking back to the earlier Holy Grail War. The surface of the water glitters with reflected sunlight. The wind coming from the river flutters Saber's hair. Another CG of Seba? And she's so beautiful. Did you have fun today, Saber? I'm suddenly scared Saber's going to disappear, so I ask a question. It's probably better not to voice. Yep, another CE for Seba. Come again. Did you say something, Shiro? I did. I asked if you had fun today. I hold my breath. Saber looks a little confused. Yes, I'd be lying if I said none of it was new to me. She says it fondly, like she knows she'll never have another day like this. Which is exactly why I already knew her answer. The only thing left for me to do is nod in agreement, and then walk her home. At the least, things can go back to normal if I leave it at that. I see. I look at Saber and nod. Then let's come again. We'll have other chances to do something like this. It's maybe a dangerous thing to say. Saber's expression hardens. I think she realizes what I'm trying to say. She looks directly at me and silently shakes her head. There will not be a second time. This happened today, and that's where it will stay. Why not? I know exactly what Saber's going to say. I know I won't be satisfied with her answer, but I ask anyway. I need not explain. Servants exist only to fight. What we did today is only me denying what I am. I obeyed only because you determined we need rest, but from here on there is no need for me to rest. There are only a few enemies left. Should you order me, I can leave and search for Lancer, right now. She focuses on me, eyes blazing with her fighting spirit. Saber is saying that she can head into battle at any time if she's ordered to, and that really sets off my anger. What the hell, are you really that eager for a fight? Of course, the more I fight, the closer I get to the Holy Grail. Our battle is our priority. I thought you understood that. I know, and it doesn't make any sense. I've been wanting to tell you, you're contradicting yourself. You keep saying fighting is important, but you've never once thought you wanted to fight. You've got no other choice, so you're fighting just because you're forced to. Let's move the wrong mouse. What? That's not true. I do not hesitate to fight. I have told you that I will do anything to win. Yeah, she did say that. But that doesn't mean she likes fighting. As long as you can manage, right? Listen, Saber. If all you needed to do was defeat the other masters to get the Holy Grail, you would have done that already by attacking innocents. Like Ryder. But you wouldn't do that. That's because it's not that you don't want to involve innocent people. You knew very well that people die in battle. That's right. That's why you want to minimize the fighting. Once you start fighting, people die, which is why you wanted to end it as quickly as possible. In other words, you're scared of there being casualties in these battles. Saber's eyes grow wide like she's seen a ghost, but quickly narrow. She grits her teeth. Her expression isn't changing, game. You can't fool me. Her expression is the exact same thing. You're wrong. I'm not afraid of fighting. Yeah, you're right. You probably haven't been afraid from the start, but that's only because you've squashed down all your own feelings, like fear, beneath your duty and dignity as king. Ridiculous. And yet you don't want to fight. You are just good at it, but it's not a talent you actually wanted. Look, I'm going to be blunt. You're not fit to fight. You never wanted to take up the sword in the first place. Okay, Shiro. You're just saying it's what you want as a way to talk yourself into actually doing it. On top of that, why didn't anyone around her, even herself, figure it out and just say something? Wow, okay, Shiro, you definitely have a misinterpretation of Seba. I will brook no further insult, even from you. You can't stand it because it's the truth. If you admitted it, you'd never be able to fight again. I hear a grinding sound. Saber's glaring at me, trying to hold back her anger. I can't back down now. I know I'm right. I can't back down. So you should stop. You want to stop. You know you're not fit to hold a sword, to fight, so just quit. Stop being a servant and do something that suits you better. It's not too late for her to try to find whatever real human happiness she's always wanted. And for that, I would. Do not be ridiculous. My only option is to fight. I'm only here to obtain the Holy Grail. I offered my entire self to protect the vow I made as a king, and I can do nothing else. She's just an object seeking to obtain the Holy Grail. That's what ticked me off the most. Why does she talk like she's only trying to convince herself? Everyone around her took her at her word because she kept insisting on stuff like this. You idiot, that's not true. There are plenty of other ways to live your life. You're here in this age now, and it's not like back when you were alive. You should try to live your life for yourself. Don't make the mistake of using that Holy Grail. What I say next is what I hope for the most. Forget about the Holy Grail. Don't use it for anyone else. If you're here, you need to live happily. My ears pick up the sound of wind. Saber doesn't answer. She doesn't nod. She only looks straight in my eyes. I cannot agree. I formed a contract to obey you. I did not give you my heart, Master. Saber speaks slowly and clearly. I will not break my vow as a king. I have responsibility to fulfill my duty. King Arthur's goal is to obtain the Holy Grail. Even if that were finished, I will never go back to being Artoria. My wish remains unchanged. From the moment I drew the sword, my vow could never change. What are you talking about? That's not what you really need to do. You'll never be rewarded for what you did, and that's wrong. You don't need the Holy Grail. Besides, Saber's wish won't come true. What's already happened can't be changed. There is so much that Shiro is right about, but there is so much more he is wrong about in all of this. You can't redo something that's already happened, or at least you shouldn't. I know you've already figured that out. No, that is absolutely. And I'm gonna tell you. No matter how bad it ended up, you can't change what's happened. Asking for a do-over just because you didn't get the result you wanted is a way a spoiled kid acts. We're at an impasse. Saber doesn't say anything more, and I don't have any more to say. The sound of the wind stops. Or rather, it pauses for a moment. An instant later, it picks back up. Just as I feel the wind on my cheek, I thought you, of all people, would understand. It becomes a headwind. Is that all you have to say after wasting our day? Her voice is cold. I hear only rejection in it. How arrogant. What knowledge can you claim to possess that lets you understand me? You've no right to involve yourself in my affairs. Ordering me to not fight? An untrained master like you, who's so reliant on my protection, has no right to talk. You should keep such drivel to yourself until you are able to fight for yourself. Though I'm unsure whether that will ever happen. That's not just drivel. It most assuredly is. Think only of myself. I could say the same of you. You place no value upon your own life. You say that I am wrong while doing the very same thing. Only the dead think of prioritizing the lives of others. How can a complete fool who doesn't even know the value of their own life spout such nonsense? Why, you. Did I strike a nerve? I would be happy to dissolve our contract right now. You have no desire for the Holy Grail in any case. I will defeat the remaining masters and obtain the Holy Grail alone. If you do not want to fight, then you need only hide. Are you serious? My voice trembles. My teeth are rattling. I'm angrier than I realized. Of course, my only goal is attaining the Holy Grail. Nothing else is important to me. And you, Shiro, are no exception. I struggle to breathe. I try to fight the blackness encroaching on my vision. Try to get my heart beating again. You idiot. Fine, if you're that eager to fight, go do it yourself. I don't care anymore. I can't keep my emotions under control. I yell out some sort of lame excuse and turn and run. I run away from her, and for an instant, I think I see Saber just standing there dumbfounded. Damn it. I just run. I don't know why I'm mad, only that I am, so I run in a fit of rage. It's because, unlike Saber, who can keep herself composed when she's being insulted, you, Shiro Emiya, seem to have the emotion span of a teaspoon, the emotional depth of a teaspoon, and you can dish it out, but you cannot handle it when you get it dished right back. Nothing else is important to me, and you, Shiro, are no exception. I grit my teeth. Honestly, I'm getting dizzy just thinking back on what she said. I'm so unfocused I might run into a pole or something. Well, it would be easy if I could do that. If I was only angry at Saber, I should have taken out on her like an idiot and just be done with it. But something else caused my fit of rage. I'm not mad at Saber. I'm so frustrated that I keep running and I don't allow myself to catch my breath because I know I'm a spineless good-for-nothing. Saber just stands there gaping at me. I heard her faintly as the wind changed directions. I thought you of all people would understand. Damn, the hell would I know that, you idiot? I immediately regret my words and nearly trip. What did those words mean? They sound like parting words, but also like she'd been about to cry. Now that I think back, it was probably the only honest thing she'd said. She hung her head as she muttered that to me. Her voice was a mixture of expectation, disappointment, and pleading. Then, who was the betrayer and who was betrayed? You gonna lash out at Rin now, Shiro? I run into my room and slam the sliding door. I flop on the floor, arms and legs splayed. I'm tired of standing. I just want to lie down and go right to sleep. But even when I lay down, my body's on fire. My heart feels like it's about to burst and my lungs are desperate to take in oxygen. I ran back here at full speed, not even pausing once, so I can't blame my body for the discomfort. I feel like I still haven't run enough, but my body is telling me to slow down. It takes a bit, but I manage to calm down. Take a deep breath, hold it, then release it. After my breathing calms down, there's just one thing left swirling in my head, and it's a simple question. What am I really angry about? It's not really something I need to think about. I was running because I know I'm helpless. I can't help Saber. It's so frustrating I'm angry with myself. I can't do anything. I said I was going to make her smile. I decided to protect Saber, but I couldn't do anything, and that's making me so angry. But what can I do? If Saber doesn't even want happiness, there's no point in someone else trying to get involved. That's why I tried to help Saber find happiness on her own. But she told me those efforts were futile, even called me an idiot. A fool who doesn't even know the value of their own life, huh? But what do I do with all that? I value my life, and I don't want to do anything to end it. And my life has nothing to do with Saber. Bringing my circumstances into this wasn't fair. No matter how stupid I am, I know for sure that Saber's wrong. When she outright rejects me like that, there's not really anything I can do. She can do whatever the hell she wants. I roll over to lay flat on my face. Now all I see is the tatami mat, so I may as well close my eyes and empty my mind. I don't care what happens to Saber. If the Holy Grail is so important, then she should just marry it. If she's going to be this stubborn after I've told her so many times, I should just stay out of it or I'll end up getting burned. Actually, I might not get out of the mess with only a burn. I might actually get really hurt. The hell? I've already gotten hurt. This is worse than just getting burned. I met her, fought with her multiple times, and to survive I saw into the depths of her heart in a moment of incredible intimacy. I remember her heat, the light deep inside her. I don't know why I'm remembering this right now. There's a faraway grassy field, memories of a girl left behind. The moment I think back to that beauty, nothing matters anymore. What Saber says doesn't matter. You're just a thing to fight. Don't expose your own weakness for crying out loud. Saber is just unfair. I don't know what exactly is unfair about her, but I know something is. Angry as I am, I can't hate her. The more I want to forget her, the harder it gets. It gets all tangled up. Damn, so the person who falls in love just gets screwed over? But I can't help it. I can't give up no matter how many times she tells me it's useless. I just have to see it through to the end. Thought you of all people would understand. I remember her face there on the verge of tears. Does that mean... Will she make that face every time I do something like this? I can't. No matter what happens, I can't agree. I'm going to keep doing this, even if I'm wrong. If she's really important to me, I'll never apologize to her. Wow, that's not a good mindset to have. I think I hear a sound. Not sure when the sun set, but the room's gone dark. The ticking of the clock is getting annoying. How long are you gonna sleep? I need you to wake up, for crying out loud. Huh? I keep saying you need to wake up. It's already past 10. Ellie won't shut up about how hungry she is, so you need to wake up and deal with this. I'm honestly surprised Ellie is awake. I thought for sure she was down and out at this point. She sounds upset. I snapped to full wakefulness. It's past 10. I jump up. Yep, it's 10:17 to be exact. It's way too late for dinner. Tosaka stands over me looking annoyed. Sorry I fell asleep. I'll be out soon, so wait in the living room. That's fine, but where's Saber? If she's not here, I guess the dojo or the living room? Shiro, I'm asking because she's not here. Tosaka is serious, and I instantly realize what that means. Do you mean she hasn't come back yet? Shiro, what do you mean she hasn't come back yet? Tosaka runs out of the room after me. There is no time to explain. I ignore Tosaka yelling behind me as I rush outside. What is going outside going to do, Shiro? Town is quiet. Quiet. Just like yesterday, there is absolutely nobody around. I don't have the patience to think about how odd that is. Saber hasn't come home yet. I actually don't blame her. We had a huge argument. She said she was going to fight alone. Knowing her, she'd do it too. She's nowhere to be found. If I can't find her, that might mean she's actually fighting Lancer, the final servant, as we speak. Except he's not the final servant, you idiot! Shiro Emiya, idiot extraordinaire. But I head straight to one more place. The air near the river is cold. The night air is chilly, and when I pass the park, it's so cold the entire place felt like it was covered in frost. My cheeks and ears sting with the cold, and my breath mists white. If it's that cold in the park, I can't imagine how absolutely freezing it's going to be on the bridge with the wind blowing up from the river. Is she seriously going to still be standing there? There, I see her. She's still standing there. She's right where she'd been standing when I ran away. Saber leans on the rail and just gazes out over the water. Maybe she's following the sun, which has long since set. Or she's staring off in the distance, her eyes fixed on a red horizon that's long since vanished. And that's when I realize Saber's strong, but she's weak too. Her dignified appearance is just her way of trying to prove she can get by without anyone's help. But at the same time, she's so fragile, she might slip through my fingers if I reach for her. She can't do things alone, but she'll probably keep that front up until the very end. So, just like me, she'd been staring up at the unreachable stars. All she does is look at the setting sun as if she knows how to do. I can't leave her alone. If our argument needs a loser, then it's unquestionably me. At least he acknowledges that. It led to me swearing never to let her make that face again. I step out onto the bridge. Saber doesn't seem to hear my footsteps. I approach without a word and then lean on the rail next to Saber. You're gonna catch a cold out here. She jumps in surprise. She finally notices me. She turns toward me. What are you doing out here at this hour? You didn't come home. Tosaka was worried. I see. I feel bad about that. That's fine, but why are you here? Well, it was easy to find you since you stayed in the same place. Yes, I'm still here because I have not yet decided where to go. You told me to do whatever I wanted to do, so I've been trying to think of what I want to do. But I could not think of what I should do, or where I should go, or where I wish to go. So I've been trying to determine where to go. She sounds like a lost child. She doesn't look me in the eyes as she speaks. Maybe she's guilty. Maybe she does, after the fight we had. I can't blame her for thinking I must be angry. You were angry. I'm sorry. Please tell Rin I'm in her debt. I'll return to you once I've defeated Lancer and obtained the Holy Grail. So until then... Is she saying that she intends to wander around alone without anywhere to go home to? That idiot. What are you talking about? You have my place to come home to. There's food and a bed for you there. But you said you don't care what I do any longer. Yeah, I have no idea what you're going to do next. I say that. And then I take her hand. Let's go home. You being a servant doesn't mean you won't catch a cold if you stay out here in the cold for too long. Come on, let's get home and eat something warm. It kind of does, though, Shiro. She's not gonna catch a cold. I'm gonna say this, but I'm not going to apologize. If you have any complaints, tell me them now. I'm crude about it, but I try to avoid her gaze. She stares at me, confused. She looks like she wants to apologize, but I ignore her. Maybe that works in my favor. She doesn't say anything, she just follows me in silence, holding my hand. Man, Shiro, you are somehow bumbling your way into this. We head across the bridge and into the park. It's 11 o'clock. There is nobody in the park, but it's packed with plenty of decorations like fountains and streetlights. I walk briskly. Saber's steps are sluggish. She stood on the bridge for more than 5 hours. She must be freezing and tired. When I tug on her hand, she occasionally stumbles like she's about to fall down. Do you want me to walk slower? You don't seem well. I turn toward her as I speak. No, I'm fine. But, well, not that Rin's words matter to me, but having you hold my hand like this really does make me think we're on some sort of tryst. And just like that, my face turns bright hot red. I guess. Should I let your hand go? That is, if you don't like it. No, this is fine. Your hand is very warm and comforting. And there our conversation ends. I resume heading home just to cover my embarrassment. Saber follows in silence. I'm not even sure how much further is the house. A little embarrassed by the warmth in our clasped hands, we both leave the park. A lot's happened today. But if we're ending the day with warmth like this, I'll change religions and thank the priest who, indirect as he may be, allowed this moment to happen. Of course, the second I think that... Where are you going? Uh-oh. That's Gil. Hang on just a moment. Boy, do not think to take what is mine. We run into someone we never should have. The elation I'd felt vanishes and my mind goes blank. Goosebumps cover my body and I realize I'd forgotten how to breathe. Wow, didn't even put his full name in the translation. Gosh, it's just Shiro. Saber standing behind me probably feels the same. She grips my hand tightly in her own. The same way I feel a sense of impending death, Saber feels the inevitable despair. Your wait is over, Saber. As promised, I've come to claim you. Archer. The man in gold. The unidentified heroic spirit who annihilated Castor's bone soldiers and even took out Castor with barely any effort. Now that monster stands in front of us. He's so close. We're at exactly the right distance to begin slashing at each other at any moment. Death looms right in front of us, even more so than when we face Berserker. What is with that outfit, Gil? That is, like, a weird outfit. What's wrong, Saber? I've come all this way to get you. You know it's improper to simply remain quiet. Or do you intend to play a bit before you admit you're mine, my king of knights? Archer stifles a laugh. He's not even looking at me. Saber's his only focus. He admires her like she's a piece of art. Saber's demeanor changes. She must have made up her mind. She's already determined the man in front of us is an enemy while I've hardly moved a muscle. I will do everything I can to block his first attack. Please take the opportunity to retreat. I know it'll be difficult, but I can only do so much against a servant like him. I can hear the apology in her voice for not being able to do more. Even someone as powerful as Saber can only block his first attack. My chances of getting away from this guy are slim at best. Saber is asking me to forgive her for what is about to happen. She probably knows there's no way for her to defeat the man in gold. I can't let her do that. This is different than when we fought Berserker. I know that though I don't have any proof that making Saber fight this servant can only end badly. Actually, I do have proof. I know from seeing his noble phantasm last night. Saber can't beat him right now. This is not a matter of her skills as a knight. That's not even the right way to look at this. No heroic spirit, so long as they remain a heroic spirit, can beat this man in gold. No. You're the only one who's going to run, Saber. I cover Saber and face Archer. I see. You have a master. His shabby appearance made me think he was no more than a lowly dog. He smiles cheerfully. He raises an arm and lazily snaps his fingers. I feel sick. I need to leave right now or I'm dead. There's no rhyme or reason. I just know instinctively that this guy will kill me for standing in front of him like this. We're near to the church. The priest there should be able to shelter you, even from him. I push Saber away and start running, trying to escape the death I can only hope isn't inevitable. Shiro, Emiya, you are an idiot. There's no plan here. I'm just going to risk it all and run straight at this guy that I'm going to project Saber Sword again, just like when we fought Berserker. I'm blown back. What just happened? The moment he snapped his finger, something appeared right beside me. It's a giant hammer. It knocks me aside like a piece of trash, and I slam hard into the ground. I can't move. My body's completely useless, like all my bones have turned to jelly. I've lost all sensation in my limbs. The pain is so dull I can't even tell if I'm still alive. I'll not kill you. If I destroy you now, Saber will disappear. As much as I hate to, I will keep you alive until the Holy Grail is summoned. The man laughs. I try to push myself up, but my body won't listen. Don't let it go to your head, mongrel. There are ways to allow a servant to remain in this world without you. This is just the path of least resistance. If you make so much as another peep, though, I will kill you. And then my mind goes blank. He will kill me. If I make even a single move, he will do just what he said he would. I can't possibly move after that kind of warning. Saber tries to run toward me. Where do you think you're going? There are no more obstacles between us. It is not the piece of trash you should be running to. The man in gold won't allow it. He stands in front of me and waits for Saber to reach me. Saber stops and glares at him. The two stand about 10 meters apart. I don't know about Archer, but Saber can close that distance in a heartbeat. Seems you're not willing to come to me just yet. Can't fathom why so great a heroic spirit as you should realize what a singular honor it is to be chosen by me. What drivel? Even if I become a heroic spirit, I'm still a king. I will never submit to you. Oh, a king you may be, but you are still a woman. A woman's greatest happiness is to bow before her lord, to serve and devote herself to him. Why then would you refuse to do so? Surely you're not so naive a maiden that you're afraid to be my woman, are you? Why, you... Don't be so angry. I do not only take, I will return to you equal joy. When you are mine, I will give you everything in the world. You should be honored, for I have deemed you worthy. The man moves. He extends both arms and approaches Saber as if in a welcoming embrace. Yes, you never need become a guardian, nor return to your fated death. See, he knows. I will say this only once more, Saber, except that you are mine. Let us enjoy our second lives here together. I refuse. I have no interest in such things. More importantly, I could never, ever live alongside you, no matter what may happen. Come here! Saber looks straight at Archer as she speaks. She stands firm, not taking so much as a step back. His laughter suddenly stops. I'm not sure what he found so funny in the first place. Good, good. That's the spunk I expect from a woman I choose. Yes. It might be amusing to have at least one who isn't so obedient. Alright, by force then. Once I've obtained the Grail, I'll pour its contents all over you. Rejoice, Saber. Once I've done that, you won't need a master. You'll be taking in all the power of the omnipotent vessel, the Holy Grail. You will no longer have to live as a servant, serving humans as their familiar. He's so damn smug. To that? What are your intentions? She must have realized that the only option is to fight him. He's kind of laid out his intentions, Saber. You're spending too much time with Shiro. Your IQ is dropping. Excuse me. And before she engages with the enemy, she wants to know why he does what he does. My intentions? I've forgotten. Unfortunately for me, I already possess all the world's riches. There's nothing left for me to wish for. What? Then you do not seek the Holy Grail? The Holy Grail? Oh, you mean immortality? I gave that to a snake. You didn't give it to a snake. The snake stole it from you, and then you went back later to get it back. You gave immortality to a snake? Saber freezes. What just happened? Saber suddenly shakes her head to refute those words. But this world is certainly amusing. The basic principles remain the same. The adornments are so elaborate now, though. Maybe ruling the world once again wouldn't be so bad. Yes, I suppose that you could say that is my intent. And if it allows me to accomplish that faster, the Holy Grail's power may not be so useless. The desires to dominate, then. You've fallen from grace, Archer. I didn't think you would. That is what would drive you to seek the Holy Grail. It's not a matter of my desiring it. All the world's riches belong to me. I can't abide others making use of what is mine. You would have hated to use your sacred sword, wouldn't you? You would hate for another to use your sacred sword, wouldn't you, King of Knights? Pale mist shrouds Saber. Then in a flash, she's wearing her brilliant silver armor. He doesn't move a muscle. In the next instant, Saber dashes forward. In the space of a single breath, she rushes straight at the man and swings her invisible sword with deadly intent. Saber goes flying backwards. If Saber's armor materialized by magical energy, Archer's must be the same. In the brief space of their rapid exchange, the gold man arms himself. Saber looks calmly at Archer as she readies her sword. Even as his eyes meet hers, the sneer remains. Very well, I will allow you to oppose me, Saber. The enemy happily announces the beginning of the battle. A white light bursts in the air between them. Saber's sword, shrouded in a bolt of lightning, cleaves directly toward the Golden Knight. 1, 2, 3, 4 strikes. Each time Saber's sword strikes, blinding light flashes from the contact. Watching her repeated attacks is like staring at a strobe light. It's just like when I first saw Saber that night when she fought Lancer. Saber channels her excess magical energy into her sword and strikes with such speed and precision that she all but becomes a lightning bolt. The clang of sword against armor echoes through the air. Archer hasn't even drawn his weapon yet. As Saber's sword strikes at him, he barely manages to defend his head with both hands. He simply doesn't have the skill to block Saber's attacks. Saber's skill with the sword is vastly superior to his. On top of that, her sword is invisible. Even if Archer draws his weapon, he won't be able to defend against that invisible blade. It strikes at his armor relentlessly. The sword hits the armor, chipping away at it and sending sparks showering in all directions. The only thing the man can do is ward Saber's blows from his face with his hands. This isn't a fight. It's a massacre. But, in spite of the fury of Saber's attacks, Archer's armor remains intact. If he's still unscathed after such a savage assault, that gold armor must be his noble phantasm. One of them. I suppose I cannot allow this to continue. You certainly do have a limitless supply of magical energy. It's not often that an attack can make my armor begin to creak. Archer raises his arm, but not towards Saber. I have no idea what he's trying to do, but Archer just stretches his arm up into the empty night sky. Enough playing around. Offer your body to me. Now. Am I hallucinating? Is this an illusion? He has something in his hands. It's a short sword shaped like a key. He has a keyblade. Oh no. Saber plants both feet, unleashing a much more powerful attack against Archer. But Archer bats it aside with his dark red sword. Is that a noble phantasm imbued with a curse of vengeance? Saber puts some distance between herself and Archer, glaring at his sword. The enemy wielding such a weapon is a threat, no question, but it also means he's showing his hand. Whether his noble phantasm is armor or a sword, we'll be able to figure out how to deal with it as long as we can see it. Saber readjusts her stance. Archer's already set his armor at its limit. If Saber can go back on the offense with the same fury as before, she should be able to cut through his armor. Even if he pulls out his noble phantasm now, the next blow will decide the match. This is the end. Let us conclude our match that was interrupted all that time ago, Archer. The sword in her hand is still invisible. She readies her sacred sword, still bound up in swirling wind, and faces her enemy. She seems to know what that noble phantasm is. She put that distance between them because she knows how to deal with it. She's readying herself to face Archer directly. Each of them wields a sword, and if their powers are equal, then it's a matter of the wielder's skill. And that should mean Saber will win. Very well. Come at me, Saber. In recognition of that sword of yours, I shall show you everything I have. The man laughs. Fine. Saber charges forward without hesitation. Her sword will cleave through his armor. The very instant I think that. Thank you for saying it for me, Gil. An invisible door opens behind the man. Saber jerks to one side. Archer holds something else in his hand now, not the black and red sword. It's an invisible sword, like Saber's. By the time Saber deflects it, Archer already has a different sword. His swords strike at her in a merciless rain of ice shards. She twists away to dodge, but the air around her becomes almost solid with flying blades. She's driven back as the blades close in on her from all sides. As the shards cling to Saber vanish, her enemy holds a deadly-looking weapon that resembles a Grim Reaper's scythe. Saber blocks the weapon, arguing for her neck with a gauntlet, but it's useless. The scythe shears through her gauntlet like it's made of tissue paper and begins to drain her magical energy. It's as if it's trying to pull out her bones rather than her blood or flesh. Saber stumbles, but she manages to keep it together. But her retreat takes on a different note. She's not distancing herself to prepare for the next attack. She's desperately fleeing the enemy. That can't be. Saber glares at Archer as she passes magical energy through her numbed arm. A halo of hilts floats around Archer. Those are the swords that slaughtered Castor. His noble phantasm. Now it's backing Saber into a corner. Even I, looking on from a distance, can't believe what I'm seeing. All those hilts floating behind him are definitely his noble phantasm. Not 10, not 20. I can't see them all, but I can tell there's no end to them. They're all from different times and places. That servant has all the divine mysteries that have ever been mentioned in the various legends and lore. Who are you? Saber's voice trembles. No servant would ever reveal their true names just because someone asks. But Archer's noble phantasm is so bizarre, Saber couldn't help but ask. Answer me, Archer. A heroic spirit should only have one noble phantasm. Some may have multiple, but usually 2 is the limit. A heroic spirit with an endless supply, just like you, should not exist. Shouldn't exist? Now, Saber, don't rush to judgment. Heroic spirits make the weapons they use during their life into noble phantasms. So it's quite simple. All these noble phantasms are things I collected while I was alive. Are you mocking me, Archer? That is even more absurd. No matter who you are, there is no way you can carry the noble phantasms unique to other heroic spirits. No such heroic spirit exists. Saber's right. All the noble phantasms he has are real. There are demonic swords from Northern Europe, and even from South America. No hero ever made a name for themselves in so many regions. Besides Lancer should be the only one with Gaybolg. Heroic spirits have their favorite weapon they use during their life as their noble phantasm. Based on that rule, the only one who could have Gaybolg is Kukulkan. But Archer isn't Kukulkan. That means his spear can't be Gaybolg, but the thing is, it definitely is the real Gaybolg. If those noble phantasms are all fake, that would explain it, but they're real, so that's just... No, wait. Could they all be originals? The weapons prototypes? Seems impossible, but then again, it might be possible. Legend and myth don't spring up from nothing. Plenty of myths share commonalities because someone or something served as a model for them. Legends which get to the point of becoming the basis of worship usually only take root in the lands they are said to take place. That's one of the reasons demonic swords and sacred swords reveal their true abilities in the lands they come from. So let's say there's something from before even that. What if various noble phantasms in mythology existed before they were known and named? Your master's not entirely useless. He seems to have a notion of who I am. Saber turns to face me. She's so far away. I can't help her from so far away. I've finally gotten to the point where I can move, even if it's a little difficult. Run, Saber. His noble phantasms are. You're saying they're all real, right? Indeed, it really is simple, Saber. Let me tell you the earliest days of Earth, when the world was still one. The single nation prospered, and its king collected so many, many treasures. Until there was nothing left for him to collect. He lacked nothing. He possessed the perfect treasury, but he never used the weapons within it. The king carried them into his eternal slumber. That's all there is to it. After the king's death, the contents of the treasury were scattered around the world. Each was valued for being a truly exceptional weapon, so in time they came to treat as noble phantasms. Do you understand now, King of Knights? The noble phantasms you servants use, they're nothing more than the king's own possessions. That's like an inheritance. As long as you can trace an object's history, a base or a prototype will always exist. It only makes sense that every legend, myth, or noble phantasm passed down in each country has an original. Far enough back into the past, if one person collected all those prototypes, they could possess every noble phantasm. And that could only be one hero, a hero from the oldest of legends, far older than the legend of King Arthur or Heracles, a tyrant who ruled ancient Mesopotamia. A king who was half god, half human, who collected all the world's treasures and eventually sought eternal youth. The most ancient king of heroes. Saber sounds like she's trying to keep the fear from her voice. Gilgamesh relishes her reaction. Indeed, I am the strongest heroic spirit, and should you fight me, you will find you are no match for me. Well, we'll check that out here in a little bit, because we have new servant data for Archer Gilgamesh. His name has been revealed, and we can get some of his background. Part man, part god, he is a king who ruled Uruk, the city-state of Sumeria, before the Common Era, a ruler not just of legend, but who is also believed to have actually existed. He's written about in one of mankind's oldest epic poems. Font italics true. Oh, that's an error. The Epic of Gilgamesh. A 2/3 divine, 1/3 human demigod, he's the peerless sovereign of the world and the supreme being who obtained everything in existence. Initially, he was a tyrant who thought little of his citizens, but his behavior gradually changed after befriending Enkidu. Enkidu was a divine creation made by the goddess Aruru in response to the prayers of the people suffering under Gilgamesh's impressive rule. Gil and Enkidu were destined to meet, and they affect each other greatly. At first, Gil feared and viewed Enkidu as the enemy, but soon the two formed a mutual bond, and later worked as equals to govern the nation. The two of them also defeated the Guardian of the Forest, the divine beast Humbaba, and Gilgamesh would eventually go to be known as the greatest king on Earth, taking possession of every fortune known to man. At this point, Gilgamesh was a dazzling and powerful being even the gods could not ignore. The goddess fell in love with Gilgamesh. The goddess of fertility, Ishtar, proposed marriage to the perfect king, but Gilgamesh bluntly rebuffed the goddess's proposal. He did so because he knew Ishtar was a capricious and brutal witch who ruined men's lives. An angry Ishtar claimed Gilgamesh insulted her and sent her father's Anu's bull of heaven to Earth as retaliation. The unleashing of this unbeatable divine beast caused 7 years of famine and destruction. Gilgamesh and Enkidu worked together to confront the bull of heaven and to successfully defeat it, further tarnishing the goddess's reputation. Ishtar's anger could not be quelled, so the goddess asked for the death of either Gilgamesh or Enkidu, reasoning that killing a human divine beast is a punishable sin. That a human killing a divine beast is a punishable sin. Ishtar's wishes were heard, and Enkidu slowly wasted away until he died, as they were a creation of the gods and could not resist their orders. This was the start of Gilgamesh's downfall. He was so shocked to find his friend, the only one who could match him in power, was just as capable of death. He was haunted by the fear of his doom, so he set out on a journey to the underworld in search of immortality. After an arduous trek, he obtained the elixir of immortality. However, as he bathed en route home, a snake drank the elixir and Gilgamesh was left to die in despair. It is said that snakes are reborn into a new body each time they shed their skin because of the one that drank Gilgamesh's elixir. Humanity's oldest king, Gilgamesh. Tales of his clash with the gods, his journey to seek immortality, and a great flood over the world. Everything in his epic became the archetype and basis for all mythology. His name may not be as recognizable as Arthur or Heracles, but his comparatively nameless figure is the oldest hero king. His overwhelming power truly makes him the strongest heroic spirit. Magic Resistance E, Independent Action A+, Command Charisma A+, Divinity B/A+. It's ranked down because he hates the gods. And Noble Phantasm, Treasury of the King, key-shaped sword that connects to the Golden Capital. It bridges space and allows the user to freely take any treasure from the vault, though it need not be said, but the more treasures that are gathered, the greater the power of this Noble Phantasm. That was a lot to read. There's nothing else to discuss. All that's left now is for him to use his endless noble phantasms to annihilate his enemy. Oh, even knowing my name, you still intend to oppose me. You must understand you can't possibly win. I will know nothing of the sort until I try. You may be the king of heroes, but there must be something that even you cannot surpass. The around saber wavers. Excalibur is a possibility. The wind envelops her as it picks up, becoming a whirlwind to protect her. As it does, her golden sword is revealed. No, Saber. I don't believe this. Does Saber intend to use Excalibur? I think so. Gilgamesh stops. He must know how powerful Saber's sacred sword is, because his self-assured composure falters. Saber glances toward me briefly, but her focus is on Gilgamesh now. Is she telling me to run away while I have the opportunity? Gilgamesh's back is to the river, while Saber is over here with me. This positioning must be the result of our shuffling around earlier. Before I realize what's happening, Saber is facing Gilgamesh, protecting me. No, you can't. Not here. I try to force myself to move. And with all the strength I can muster in my numbed body, all I can do is manage to lift a single arm. I use every bit of magical energy in my body to push that arm up. Come on. Lost all sensation, but every bone in my body creaks as I begin moving. The pain is a warning. My body is coming apart at the seams, and if I move, that'll be it. I push myself to my feet, ignoring the warning. I try to endure the pain. I don't have time for it. What I need to do is get to my feet as fast as I can and protect Saber. I have a really, really bad feeling about this. It's the same premonition I felt when I faced Gilgamesh myself. We can't beat him no matter what. My instincts keep telling me that I just can't let Saber fight him. The famed sacred sword. Very well. The swirling wind has become a raging vortex. Even in the face of that dazzling sword, Gilgamesh is unintimidated. On top of that, I suppose I should select a weapon well suited to oppose it. He draws a strange sword from the gate behind him. Ooh, bring him out, Ea. That's where my premonition came from. The sword he has now doesn't exist in any legend. I can identify every one of his noble phantasms floating behind him, but I have no idea about that sword. I possess the original of all noble phantasms, but they are all nameless. They are also not the only weapons I possess. The sword itself is cylindrical. It consists of 3 segments, each rotating in different directions. It looks like a drill capable of piercing solid bedrock. This is different, though. Only the King of Heroes may wield this sword. It has no name, so I simply call it Ea. So all you want is to compare the strength of our noble phantasms. Light flashes off their weapons. The two of them are still about 10 meters apart. Gilgamesh cannot possibly avoid our attacks from that distance. Yes, there's no need to hold back now. I always wanted to go up against the sword that they say is stronger. His laughter echoes in the space between them. Saber must have taken that as a provocation. Very well. Then defend yourself against my sword if you can. Saber moves. Her lips form the sword's true name. There's nowhere to run now. The noble phantasm releases when its wielder speaks its name, strikes mercilessly at Gilgamesh. It's time. Awaken, Ea. The cylindrical sword roars. In response to Gilgamesh's words, the 3 segments whirl faster. If Saber's Excalibur summons a whirlwind by driving the wind away, Gilgamesh's Ea creates a gale by drawing in wind. But Saber is more experienced with handling her anti-fortress noble phantasm. It's faster than Ea. Saber pours as much magical energy as she possibly can into her weapon in seconds, igniting its massive power. She doesn't hesitate. She unleashes the might of a sacred sword so powerful it could split a river in 2. It can do more than that. At the same moment... It didn't say Enuma. I only heard Elish. A light of matching intensity flares to meet Excalibur's attack. Flashing lights warning, I guess. Yeah, totally subtle this will be. Nobody's gonna see this. The impact is tremendous. Raging winds tear trees from the ground. Colliding lights are like an exploding sun blinding me. No, I'm on the verge of being carried off by the wind. I cling to the ground with my one functioning arm. It's all I can do to weather the storm of wind, light, and heat. How long will this go on? Their overwhelming attacks are so powerful I fear they might split the world in two. But then... it suddenly ends with Saber surrounded by white light. Nobody's gonna notice this. Completely subtle. Secretive, doing this in the middle of the night. Nobody is going to realize that happened. More servant data added. So, the Enema Elish, star of creation that divided heaven and earth. Rank, EX. Type, anti-world. Range, 1 to 99. Max targets 1,000 persons. Ea, the sword of rapture, the blade that can sever space itself. A rift created by compressed and clashing winds becomes an artificial fault line that divides space-time, annihilating everything that stands against it. There's no way to defend against its destructive power unless the target has an anti-purge AC or an attack powerful enough to cancel it out. The damage value is strength times 20, but the MGI value can randomly be added to strength. Its maximum damage is 4,000. However, the damage increases exponentially when the noble phantasms from the treasury are used as backup. It is a sword with the power to sever the world, which makes it equal to or more powerful than Saber's Excalibur. I love the random numbers thrown in there. It's like they wanted this to be an RPG or something. A crash breaks the unexpected silence. Something thuds into the ground beside me. I know what it is. Even half blind, I couldn't mistake what I'm seeing. Critical injury. Not really. That's actually... she's come out of that pretty well. She looks dead. She's a bloody mess. In the distance, the Golden Knight, completely unscathed, laughs like a madman. So that's all the power of humanity's strongest sacred sword can muster? Humanity's power is truly pathetic. Well, you don't meet the criteria to unleash its full power, so... His laughter rises so high it seems to soar up to the heavens. This must be hilarious to him. He's just smiling to himself, not even paying Saber any mind now that she's fallen. She doesn't answer. Blood spurts from her mouth as she tries to gasp. The world goes red. What was I doing? I knew this would happen. I knew Saber couldn't win against Gilgamesh, so why didn't I try to stop her even if I used a command spell? What a bore. Not even a challenge. I'm disappointed you were defeated so easily, Saber. My mistake. I should have gone easy on you. You are just a woman after all. His smug voice is grating. This is my fault. I thought she could win. As bad a feeling as I had about this, I was sure Excalibur could win. I may have told her to stop, but my command spell didn't react. I obviously wasn't serious. If I'd been serious about protecting her, I could have used a command spell to make her escape, even if it was just her. And there would have at least been options for me to fight on my own. Shiro, you're crippled right now. There was no options for you to fight on your own, man. It's time for me to collect what's mine. She's gotten a little dirty, but no matter. She was going to end up that way anyway. A scratch here or there makes no difference. His voice draws closer. Saber must have come to. I can see her eyes open. Saber, are you alright? I can see her breathing, yet I'm still far enough away that I can't reach her. She lays still, but I can't run to her. All I can do is call out to her. Saber's mouth opens. She breathes in as if to ask for help, but even that is painful enough to send her into a coughing fit. Are you there? Her voice is weak, and the question makes it clear she can't see me. Hold on. I can't very well say I'll help. I'm on the ground, too, and can only move one arm. I can't even offer words of encouragement. At least she can't see me in this pathetic state. Shiro, you are so arrogant if you're more concerned about her seeing you in this state than you are of... Shiro. She tilts her head toward me, her eyes lifeless. I'm sorry. Please escape, even if you must do so alone, Master. Saber coughs up blood. Anger seizes me and I see red. I've been relying on Saber and this is the result. I took one hit and I can't even get up. I grab my head with one hand, that still works. I could just about kill myself. I have every intention of crushing my head and so will pour all the strength I can into my hand. The switch fails. Instead of using my finger, I imagine a hammer pressing the switch to change myself into a mage. Don't ever use it again. Projection is beyond your abilities. I hear Tosaka's voice. She said that trying to do Mage Trap beyond your abilities will destroy the caster's nerves and magic circuits. So what? Saber's more important than any of that. If I can't protect her, I don't need my head anyway. She saved me so many times. I've never cared about someone in the way I care about her. Hence the whole, you don't know the value of your own life, Shiro. So, if I can't protect her, I'm better off dead. I hear the pounding of iron. The shattered bones in my body are being reinforced by magical energy. There's no holding back. I throw my switch open wide, ignoring my own limits. I generate as much magical energy as I can. My spine ignites, my entire body grows red hot. My brain feels like it's melting and I bite my tongue to endure it. My teeth sink into the fleshy muscle. If I have to bite a hole in my tongue to remain conscious, so be it. What? The footsteps stop. Gilgamesh's amused laughter stops with them. Shiro, what are you doing? You mustn't or your body will. She must sense something, even without being able to see. Saber screams as she desperately tries to push herself up. Something in me snaps. I stand up. My body tries to ignore my orders, but it begins to move with the help of the surge of magical energy I pour into it. It's like being set on fire and instinctively running toward water in hopes of surviving. I don't care. It's better than seeing Saber like that. Oh, right. With my mind nearly burning up, I finally realize. From the beginning, I vowed to wield my sword because I didn't want her to get hurt. Excuse me. What? I told you to flee, so why? I stopped the enemy from approaching. Saber's behind me on the ground. This is it. There's no way I can retreat now. I restrain my panicking, burning body and focus my will. I need to imagine one single thing. I divide the projection into 8 sections and replicate the lost sword. There's something solid in my left hand. I don't even have to look. My second attempt at manufacturing the sword succeeds. I swear that's not right. You should know very well that we still cannot win against him. If you can move, you have to run. I'm not running. I came here to get you. No, am I going home alone? I ready the sword. I held it in both hands. It's so much heavier than the bamboo sword. And glare at Gilgamesh. Stop, Shiro. I ignore Saber's words and take a step forward. There's about 4 meters between us. If I rush at him with all my might, maybe I can cut him down. He doesn't move. He watches me for a moment, then laughs. I suppose I'll kill you then. His voice is utterly devoid of emotion. I instinctively block the attack that comes my way. Why, you. I dodge the surprise attack by swinging sideways. Too slow. If the first attack is a sudden gust, the barrage of attacks that follows is like a storm. Blocking is all I can do. Actually, I wouldn't have even been able to block the first attack on my own. Fortunately, when I reproduced the sword, I also reproduced its memory. A sword that's been in so many battles gains a will of its own after all that experience. The sword must have already mastered this particular dance. I can't follow Gilgamesh's attacks, but the sword seems to be able to. Before I move my arm, the sword is already reacting to Gilgamesh's attacks. I let the sword guide me, and managed to parry Gilgamesh's fierce attack. It doesn't last long. Of course it doesn't. Every time I swing the sword, my fingers go numb, and I find myself gradually lagging more and more behind the sword's guidance. You mongrel. This is beyond unseemly. Gilgamesh must not be able to tolerate even the slightest bit of resistance from me. He glares hatefully at me as he backs up just the slightest bit. I'm saved. If he'd kept attacking, I wouldn't have lasted another second. Celebrating too soon, Shiro. Try to catch my breath. And then... You filthy faker, if you're so enamored by it, I will show you the real thing. He draws a sword. Looks familiar. The decorations are different, though. The thought that went into making that sword as well as its soul are too similar to this sword. Don't tell me the prototype of this sword. That's right, but its precision as a noble phantasm is without equal. The sword and the stone you now hold originated from the Norse legend of the sword impaled in the tree of supremacy. And this sword is the prototype for both. This sword serves as the very foundation of the concept of the divine right for kings. Is he saying he's holding the original model for the sword in the Tree of Supremacy, the North hero Sigmund's demonic sword, Graham? No child surpasses their parent. Replicas deteriorate within each iteration, and they are no match for the original. Light flares from the blade. The sword understands perfectly that this is the same attack which killed Berserker in a single strike. It must be protecting its owner. The sword in my hand moves toward the enemy sword more fiercely, more powerful than ever before. The noble phantasm is calling Caliburn the golden sword of assured victory, but it shatters instantly in the face of Merodach, the original sin. I hear something sliding along the ground. It's a faint rustling sound. It's the park's ground slippery? I roll across the ground a bit, like a bit of trash in the wind, before finally coming to a stop. New weapon data! Weapon data! Graham? Graham, the magical sword of the sun, Graham. And the Volsunga Saga, Graham was the magical sword of glory and destruction that belonged to Sigurd, the greatest Norse hero. It is also the prototype of Caliburn from the legend of King Arthur. Just as Caliburn was the sword appointment stuck in a stone, Graham was the sword of appointment stuck in King Volsung's tree. In the legend of the magical sword, Graham and its owner, Sigurd, is marked by glory and destruction worthy of the hero's name. Later compiled in medieval Germany, Der Ring des Nibelungen is a knightly tale equally significant to the legends of King Arthur. In this version, Graham appears under a different name, Balmung. It is the strongest magical sword, comparable to the strongest sacred sword, and it even has dragon-slaying properties. One could consider it the natural counter to the King of Knights. But there is nothing about the other sword that we got revealed. Wow. Shiro, Shiro, Shiro. Her voice tells me I'm still alive. Oh, there you are, Saber. I'm relieved to see that. I thought I'd been blown away, but it doesn't matter since Saber's here. And then as long as I can stand up, I can run to her. I glance at my arm. It's red. My arm's covered in some sort of sticky red membrane, but there's no blood coming from it. Don't move. Please don't move, Shiro. Saber's shouts reach me as I lay there staring at my arm. Looks like my torso is what's hurt. That single attack, pretty sure Gilgamesh's sword is what sent me flying. That explains why I'm injured. No wonder Saber's so upset. The only thing I can move is my right hand. My left hand doesn't move. I'm not even sure what happened to my left hand. I can't even breathe. A diagonal slash covers my torso, starting from my left shoulder. The slash runs all the way through my body, separating parts of me like a mismatched building blocks. I look like a ginkgo leaf. I've been cut open from shoulder to hip. It's actually creepy I'm still alive right now. Don't think this miraculous survival's going to last long, though. I'm conscious right now, but my vision's already starting to narrow. Besides, even a tiny movement will send all my organs tumbling out of my torso. Maybe I really am dead in my consciousness, or my ghost or something is just hanging out and watching what's unfolding. I thought that attack would leave you scatter all over the place, but you're nothing if not tenacious, I suppose clinging desperately to life is the only good quality a mongrel possesses. He laughs. I'm grateful for it, honestly. The more horribly grating that laughter is, the harder my consciousness fights to cling to my physical body. This all ends here. You're unworthy of a lion. She will be mine. More footsteps. This time he's going to take Saber for sure. Okay, first choice point in a long while. Good gracious. I've been going for almost 2 hours without a single choice. I'm curious of the flowchart here. So, branching paths like this tells me one of them is a dead end. Because that is how it tends to go. If it branches one horizontal and one sort of a vertical to a horizontal, that means that one of these choices is a bad end. Good lord, look at this day. It's so long. But this is not the best example because it splits both ways. This is a good example, though, of a bad end. Hey, Viper, welcome to the stream. Happy things. Yeah, I kind of figured that, you know. I kind of figured that staying down is probably the bad end here. I like to discuss the branching paths that offer before. What things would Shiro do that would be in character and thus not lead to a bad end, and which things are not, or which wouldn't lead to bad end. Which are the things that Shiro would not do, and thus would lead to a bad end. Shiro Emiya is stubborn as a frickin' mule. He will stand up to fight for what is right. So, the bad end is obviously him just staying down and dying. Laughter draws near. As soon as I try to push myself up, lightning courses through my spine. The pain screams through every fiber of my being that I can't fight anymore. I can't get up. Even if I could, I'm too much of a mess. I can't beat him. And in that moment of realization, my body, so hellbent on survival, finally gives up. The power that had been protecting me all this time fades. My thoughts slow, my mind wanders to nothing, as does my life. So that's an unceremonious end. Like, no glamorous last thoughts, just, yeah, I can't actually get up. Okay, good. Let's see what the dojo has to say. Okay, a note for YouTube. The rope is just attached to his shirt. The rope is attached to his shirt. Nothing else. Just his shirt. He's got a harness on underneath his shirt even. And they're, pretending he's like a giant crane game. Yeah, that's what it is. Only on his back. It's on a harness beneath his back. You just can't see it because he's got the shirt on. Oh, come on. Okay, that was great. That was out of left field, but hilarious. 203 chain marvelous. I can't believe this. I never imagined such a hardcore gamer would come to a Tiger Dojo at this point in the game. And actually, you shouldn't even be here. Just go beat Goldie and protect Saber, or else I'm gonna be so mad. Yeah, is that what you really want, gym shorts? Oh, hey, senpai. Oh, I'm a little annoyed. But we've come this far, so I kind of wanted to show how cool he can be. That's all. Okay, that's the end of this dojo. Hurry back to the last choice and settle things already, Shiro. Sure, let's return to the most recent decision point. I think this time I should probably stand up. Next to you, and defend her still, today. I pour all the strength I have left into my one good arm. I try to grip the ground with my sticky, slippery arm and lever myself upright, even as I'm on the verge of literally splitting apart. For a brief second, I see Saber's face. She's on the brink of tears. In that moment, I'm proud to know that falling in love with her wasn't a mistake. Hold it. It's still not over yet. I force myself up. Neither of my legs work. The magical energy that barely kept my body moving is gone. All that remains is my faint heartbeat and the throbbing of my organs desperately trying to continue functioning. Feeling regret, are we? I can hardly blame you, but that treasure is beyond you. I can hardly blame you for wanting to take it for yourself. That must be all the more painful to see it in the hands of another man. Too far. He goes too far. I can't listen to another second of his shit. Enough. Quit talking about Saber like she's something to be claimed. Shiro, you are not treating her much better. I pour what energy I can into my right arm. It feels like it's made of lead. My body creaks in protest, but begins to obey. I push myself up to one knee. Damn, listen to me. I take a deep breath, trying to focus what strength I have left. Every time I move, I feel my organs shifting around as if with minds of their own. Why did you not understand that it's pointless? Saber sounds like she's denouncing me. She's far away. In the distance, I can see her staring at me, sad and forlorn. I push everything from my mind to focus on making my body move. Saber's voice is just a distraction. Gilgamesh's laughter, the pathetic state my body's in, none of that is my biggest obstacle right now. Right now, it's Saber. Hearing her say that, seeing her looking like that, it's almost enough to make me give up. Finally, I feel life flood into my knees. Now all I have to do is get to my feet. I do not need it. I do not need your help. I've lost, and I'm no longer your sword. It's only proper for me to disappear now. It's Saber's voice. Damn. If you keep saying that, if you keep making this even harder, I'll get mad even at you. Oh, please stop, Shiro. You cannot keep going, really. You will die. If you die this way, Ugh. Can't keep listening to this. She has no idea how I feel. Shut up. Just be quiet for a moment. There's nothing wrong with relying on me at times like this. That's wrong, Shiro. Please do not twist your priorities so. You shouldn't concern yourself with me. You must put your own life ahead of mine. She's pleading with me. Knowing that I'm responsible for the agonized sound of her voice makes me want to give up right now, but I refuse. There's nothing in this world I want more than you. Can't allow myself to give in to her plea. What? Saber gasps at me. Gapes at me. I'm not sure why, but I remember something. She once told me I was a fool who didn't know the value of my own life. I think she's right. For someone who can't help themselves to try to help someone else is a little presumptuous. They're really only doing it for their own happiness, while the person they're meant to be helping might not be half so pleased. Someone's first priority should be themselves. The people who think like that are the only ones who can truly be happy, and so they can share that happiness with other people as well. Yeah, I know I'm a fool who doesn't value his own life. I've been wrong about the most important thing in all my life. From that day, the place in my heart where whatever is most important to me was empty. But I'm grateful for that abnormality, because now that empty space is filled with the person I truly want to save. Saber, even if I'm the most important thing in my life, nothing will ever change. You're so much more beautiful than my life could ever be. Nothing could ever replace you in my heart. At least not until another timeline. And then I realized it wasn't that I was sympathetic toward her. The girl in my dreams, the girl who fought and died alone, who I felt was never rewarded for all she did. I was in awe of her. I thought she was beautiful beyond words. The vivid image of her taking her sword and charging into battle, never looking back, was awe-inspiring. Yeah, that's why I need to protect you, Saber. You were alone your entire life, so I have to make sure you're not swallowed up by the darkness in your last moments. Yep, once this is all over, on the verge of your death, I hope you can go into your eternal slumber, proud of what you did with your life. No more hesitation. My objective is clear. Sorry, I love you more than anything, Saber. So I'm not letting him take you. I regret the apology as soon as I give it, but I wanted to tell her. I wanted to tell her that now of all times because the words could come straight from my heart. I sense her gasping. I want to turn around to see her face, but no, I can't really see anymore anyway. I stand up. As long as my heart is still beating, I can keep fighting. Magical energy is life. As long as it flows through me, I can create as many swords for her as she needs. Congratulations, you've stood up. Now what? What do you expect to happen here? I feel a scorching heat in my right hand. Here on the brink of death, I'm reminded what happened 10 years ago. It's a terrible illusion. Feel just like I did when I was in the fire, reaching a hand out and hoping to be saved. Go away. I can't leave Saber to you. I say that as I raise my right hand. Fool, I have no need for your consent. Gilgamesh raises his sword. Get down, Shiro. I hear Saber far behind me. I ignore her and use my remaining magical energy to project a sword once more. The light stops me. A vortex of light rushes at me. It's not as strong as Excalibur, but it still burns away anything it touches. When the heat scorches my body, I don't think about my death. I think about Saber, somewhere behind me. This will kill her as well as me. I at least need to protect her then. I said it's what I do. It's what I always wanted to do. She's strong, but at the same time could break at any moment. She needs me. She's like a drawn sword, so to make sure she doesn't get hurt, I'll sheathe her. And then, before I realize what's going on, there's a sword in my right hand. Not sure who said that, but there's a brief hesitation. At that same moment, the invincible knight in gold takes a step backward. Shiro, allow me. Saber takes my hand. The vortex of light fades. Saber is right beside me. Before me is Gilgamesh, eyes open and bleeding. I don't know what happened, but I realize it's just like the Berserker battle. Saber is using whatever I had, and it destroyed Gilgamesh's Gram. Two titanic beams of light collided before one overwhelms the other, and we managed to truly wound the man who until now had been completely unscathed. He radiates murderous intent. It's terrifying. In spite of that ferocious, murderous rage, the Golden Knight leaves without a word. But there's no time to be surprised. I have no idea why he just left. But even as I feel myself slipping into unconsciousness, I know the battle's over. Avalon. My knees buckle. The tension that kept me upright fades, and I collapse. Saber hurries forward and catches me. Yeah, Saber's suddenly feeling a lot better now. While I slip down onto my rear, supported by Saber, I look over my body. I can't help but cry out. My body is torn to pieces. I should have been killed the instant Gilgamesh laid me open from shoulder to hip. Well, this is definitely... Excuse me, by the way. My healing power must be what's got me clinging to life, but even that has its limits. I'm practically split in two. I can't possibly recover from this. I'm not even sure if I'm breathing, and everything's starting to go dark. My end is near. The only good thing to come from that is that Saber's okay. My wounds are fatal, but it looks like Saber was just exhausted. She's disarmed and her wounds are already healed. Even if I end up having to drop out of the war, I'm sure Tosop can take care of the rest. I hear that sound again. The sound of creaking bones is coming from me. Curious, I look down at my wounds. What? I see a myriad of swords, or what looks like tons of tiny blades converging, layering atop another, trying to net together my broken body. I feel faint. Looks like every muscle and bone of my body is made from swords. And isn't that like a nightmare fuel scenario? The next moment, they're gone. My body looks normal, and what I thought I saw a moment ago seems to have only been an illusion. As proof of that, my ruined flesh begins fusing together. My wounds close right before my eyes. Looks more like restoration rather than healing. Looking at it, I feel a surge of disgust rather than fascination. Looks like I'm going to make it. But this is just too... What a relief. It appears you will not die, Master. I hear Saber's voice at my ear. She's really close. That's great, but my body... What's... I want to ask what's going on with my body, but I'm suddenly overcome with dizziness. And then my body's enveloped in a soft embrace. She undid her armor. No, I understand now. It makes sense for your wounds to be healing. I can't stay awake. I produce too much magical energy. My worn-out mind just wants to sleep now. I don't know how strong it is, but Saber moves closer and wraps her arms around me. She embraces me tight. I finally understand. You were my sheath, Shiro. Her words penetrate deep into my tired mind. That sensation is so comforting, and the last of my remaining consciousness fades away. I finally realize I'm safe, and so I yield my body to sleep. Before sleep takes me, I find myself thinking what a little foolish sadness this scene would be if our positions were reversed. arrogant much, Shiro? Quick drink of water. For the final time, I see that red hill once again. The red memory. I dive deeper into her memory, and I realize I'm seeing it for the last time. It's a memory of a certain night I've seen many times already. After becoming king and killing her will so she would devote herself to the will of her nation, her days were now marked by the resentment of her trusted knights. No, they weren't! Every time she won a battle, Artoria was made to fight more battles she didn't want. She continued to hide her gender, which heaped more suspicion onto her. All that awaited the isolated girl was rebellion at the hands of her own family. A young knight took over the nation while the king was away on an expedition. The knight's name was Mordred. The knight, son of Artoria's older sister Morgan, was in fact the king of Knight's own son. Artoria was never able to have a child as a woman, but Mordred had her blood coursing through his veins. I'm not clear what happened to make that possible, but Artoria's older sister Morgan loathed her for becoming king. Mordred was created as a clone and served the king without knowing his father. Mordred sought an opportunity to take the throne for himself, ultimately going so far as to organize a revolt. The revolt would end in what would later be known as the Battle of Camlan, the final battle and the end of King Arthur. King Arthur learned of Mordred's betrayal during her expedition and returned with her weary army to invade her own lands. She defeated many of the knights who used to serve her. She attacked the lands she once defended. The few knights who remained loyal to her died. The only two left standing in the end were the king and her son, Mordred. And Bedivere! The combat between the two of them ended with the king's victory. But the king was not unharmed. Mordred was bound by a powerful curse and swung his sword even after dying, inflicting a fatal wound on the king. And so that battle ended, and it was the end of her, the king once known as the King of Knights. It must have been heart-wrenching. None of the battles she fought were painless. Every one of the 12 battles she fought was intense, but the final one was her greatest loss. She returned to her homeland only to have to destroy her own army. She was forced to punish the knights who once served her and had to watch those knights who remained loyal to her die. And in the end, she had to kill her own son. She didn't care about the fact that Mordred was her son, though. I have no idea what was going through her head at the moment, but I had to pray. I had to pray for the lone knight who had tried to remain king until the very end. I pray that this dream of hers just before her death is the kind of a dream a girl named Artoria would want to see. Still not done with this day. I opened my eyes. I don't know when I got back, but I'm in my room lying in my futon. Shiro, you're awake. Saber, how did I? You've been sleeping for some time. You're mostly healed now, so there's no cause for concern. I see. Guess that's good. What about Saber? She's Excalibur. She must be running low on magical energy, since she probably healed herself too. Were you taking care of me the whole time? All I did was wipe the sweat from your brow. I cannot treat wounds like Rin. You dummy. You didn't have to do that. You're probably suffering too. That's not true. My wounds were insignificant compared to yours. However, on the subject, though your wounds have healed, they were severe enough that you might have died. You must be mindful of your body and its limits right now. Saber reaches for a basin of water that sits beside her. She draws a towel out and wrings it off before wiping me off with cool water. Honestly, what she does mostly just embarrasses me. Does your wound still hurt? Your fever doesn't seem to have gone down. I don't have a fever. That's not what I mean. I want you to rest too. You might be fine right now, but you still use Excalibur. You should be resting or you might collapse again like last time. Well, that might be true. But I'm better off than you are right now. It's only proper that I should protect my master until his wounds are healed. I guess that makes sense. She's got me there. When she says it like that, I can't really do anything but agree. Fine, I'm gonna rest, so I want you to rest too, Saber. I won't be able to sleep knowing you aren't resting. That's true, and I do require sleep. Saber nods in agreement, then wrings out the towel and hangs it over the edge of the basin. I do my best to swallow my embarrassment as I watch Saber tend to me. I will go rest. Please take care, Shiro. Okay. Good night. I forgot to say so earlier, but thank you, Shiro. I'm very glad you're okay. There, under the moonlight, I see Saber smile. Her smile seems fragile, maybe because of the pale moonlight. Before I get a good look, the door closes. When Saber disappears into her room, I'm stricken by a sudden sense of relief. Or maybe loneliness. I regret not telling her to stay there and just take my futon while I use my arm as a pillow, but that would be too much for her. Besides, if we did that, it'd remind me of that night. I shake off the image that works its way into my mind. Too many things have happened today. Feels like an entire week has gone by today. My date with Saber was more challenging than fun. Then we got in an argument and left, abandoned Saber, and then... No, I shouldn't think of that until I've completely recovered. Not only do we have to deal with Gilgamesh, but we also need to defeat Lancer and whoever his master is. We need to rest and recover and regroup so we can be at our best, or else we don't have a chance at winning. It only happened a few hours ago. I think Saber said something about me being her sheave. At the time, I couldn't ask what she meant. I was a wreck and near to passing out. Come on. I can't fall asleep. In Saber's dream, her face, resolute even on the brink of death, overlaps with the sight of Saber tending to me. Then I hear her voice saying goodnight. The image of her frail profile of her smile burned into my mind. It's not a smile I saw in any of her dreams of my dreams of her life. She says it makes her happier when she sees me smile. That just drives me nuts. I'm not sad, just exasperated. I don't know why it annoys me so much that I actually find myself getting angry. Punch my futon. The desire to lash out in the face of this frustration just completely overwhelms me. Is something the matter? A concerned voice drifts from the other side of the closed door. My breathing is heavy, so she must think I'm having trouble sleeping. That's okay, but why are you still awake? Are you truly alright? If you're still in pain, I can remain by your side. Maybe I should get over... No, that's worse. All the pent-up feelings I've been barely holding back will come rushing to the forefront if I see Saber now. Can I talk to you for a bit? Yes, if you do not mind me talking like this. We start talking through the sliding door. Since I can't actually see her, I think back on that smile. The last expression I saw on her face. She looked so happy. And when I think of it, I find myself getting more frustrated rather than less. I don't know why I'm getting so warm. But I still need to talk to Saber. I have to tell her that even if I don't have the right answer, she's still wrong. Shiro, you were doing so good. My voice trembles, my tongue feels heavy in my mouth. Once I say it, I won't be able to take it back. I'm fully aware of that. It's okay. Just, things are fine, so you need to smile for yourself. Some unknown force forces the words from me. What are you... Why? There shouldn't even be a question. I'll just keep repeating myself until you realize it. You've done enough. You've worked hard enough, you fought so hard all on your own. That's why it wouldn't be right to unless you found happiness. You fulfilled your vow. That gives you the right to go back to being Artoria. What? You still want to talk about this? Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying it. I can't help it. I fell for you, so you should go back to being you. No, Artoria. I suppress the sudden surge of emotion. I'm on the verge of breaking down. If only Saber would just say something, even a single word. Shiro, please do not. If you say that, Her answer is unchanged. My heart aches from her determination. You've come into me both physically and spiritually, despite knowing my past. You should know well what answer I would have to give. So why would you still concern yourself with me? Yeah, see, the come into me physically and spiritually, you know, it doesn't really work in the context of what we've seen so far in this remaster. That line likely makes so much more sense in the original. You must have seen all the sins I committed. Yeah, I have. Many people were sacrificed in the name of the king. Many enemies killed. I have no intention of pretending that didn't happen. Still knowing this, I want her to be happy. Yeah, so? I don't understand this feeling, but I can't just let you stay like this. I want you to smile, Saber. I want to be with you forever. It's such a childish confession of love. I'll wait for her answer as the silence stretches out between us. What Saber might be doing or how she might be reacting behind that closed door, I have no idea. Are my words even getting through to her? My answer will never change. I cannot break the vow I made as king. I may have not been fit to rule, but my nation was still entrusted to me. And since I failed in my duties, I cannot accept this freedom. Her voice is sad. I can't stand it any longer. I don't want to hear the solitary oath Artoria took when she became king. I already know it. All this frustration wasn't just so I could hear her lamentations. I kick at the futon covers. The only thing between me and Saber is the sliding door leading to her room. The door slides softly as I open it. My mind goes blank. What was I so angry about? Why was I so sad? Before me, I see the trembling eyes on the verge of tears. I see a slender neck and shoulders so thin they seem to be in danger of snapping in a breeze. And I see her golden hair splash with moonlight just like when we first met. Without even thinking, I'm embracing her. I hold her so tight, I might break her. Okay, I think I'm not going to have to worry about any scenes, but this definitely feels like it is a scene in the original. It's different from that night. I didn't feel like this back then. This may sound ridiculous. Even though I was aspiring to be a champion of justice, I never fell in love. There was never someone I could let go of. Saber. It's like she might disappear if I don't hold her tight enough. Not sure how long I hold her, but I relax my embrace after reminding myself that no, she won't disappear. What is this all of a sudden? What's the meaning of this? Even if you do that, I will not. She moves slightly in my arms. Her lips tremble. She's about to say something I don't want to hear. So I place my lips over hers to silence her. She trembles in my arms. I'm looking at Saber, but I'm not seeing anything. But my sense of touch has grown so much more sensitive now I can feel the softness of Saber's lips. Our lips... You can show the degen scenes for about 2 seconds before you get bonked. 2 minutes. Ah. Good to know. I don't think I need to worry about such scenes, though, in the remaster. They probably took those out. But I will have to put my finger on the Windows button so that I can tab out just in case of the very, very slim chance that they decided to leave it in. But I kind of doubt that they did. Our lips part. Saber places a hand on my chest and pushes me away gently. That kiss. She wants to say it was a mistake. She looks at me on the verge of tears. It wasn't a mistake. I'll say it as many times as I can. I love you and I can't let you go. If you don't want it, tell me. Tell me our relationship is just a master and servant. If that's what you want, then say so directly. Reject me. That's unfair. How can you ask me to do that? Yeah, if you don't tell me directly, I'm not going to hold back. If you don't reject me, I'll just do what I want. Again, such problematic language there. Even if it could only make her forget her vow to be a king for a moment. Neither of us says anything for what feels like a long time. I keep holding Saber, feeling her soft, slender body. She's still tense, unsure of herself. All I can hear is our breathing and our hearts beating. How many times did our hearts beat against each other? She pushes a little harder on my chest. I cannot reciprocate your feelings, as you cannot change, so there are things I cannot change about myself. If anything, if it is allowed, it would be... A pause makes my heart ache. She bites her lip, trembling as if confessing that what we did that night was not permitted. And again, so much context is missing with the... Like, the implications of this mean nothing when it was just Shiro giving her a mana circuit. And yet, her body offers no resistance and no hesitation, and her eyes tells me something. Just one night. She's telling me of a hope she feels she cannot be fulfilled. She wants to stay like this until the night ends. I lift my hand, trying to embrace her. She takes a hold of it. Since I knew my noble phantasm, if I don't receive energy from you, I can't continue fighting. Her hushed voice asking permission falls silent. I have no words. That line of reasoning is so transparent, but it's the best you could do to ask for her wish to come true. Alright, but you know if that connection's still working properly? Yes, you're supplying me with energy as we speak, which is why, to more fully recover, we should... Our bodies have to be close. It's all we can do. This is as close as we can be, because she's still bound by her oath. I can't break that oath. Saber moves in my arms. I don't know what to do with the heat of her pressed against me. Holding Saber's slender body in my arms makes my heart beat faster, and I'm ashamed of myself for getting agitated. Her cheeks practically glow red. She looks so embarrassed. And so, Shiro, if I may ask, please allow me to sleep with you tonight. When the sword and sheath are together, it's easier for them to restore their strength. And if we bring our bodies and souls close like we did during that ritual... I nod silently. I'm much happier than I am embarrassed. I get to spend the night with Saber in my arms. Our bodies may not touch more than they are now, but we can be more intimate in our hearts. I'm glad. Then, Shiro, I'll prepare myself for tonight, so please return to your room. She stands up. I can't bear to let her go, but we can't stay like this forever, so I head back through the sliding door to my room. I turn back to look at Saber before I slide the door shut. Feels like I'm doing something wrong, though, so I close the door quickly. I don't know why, but I'm finding myself sitting on top of my futon. My mind won't slow down. It's practically doing somersaults just at the thought of sleeping with Saber. This is for her, to help her, to grant her one small wish of hers. If I keep on granting these small wishes for her, it'll add up, and maybe Saber will learn to smile. But the war is nearing its end. I don't know how much time we have left to keep doing this. Excuse me, Shiro. The sliding door opens. I shake away the depressing thoughts circling my head and look to Saber. I turn and look up at her. She's... okay. It's fine. I quietly gulp. She's a figure pure white in the darkness. Seeing her, all that relentless worry melts away. She's just too beautiful. My heart is unclouded now. You think it's strange for me to be in this? No, absolutely not. It's just that you're so beautiful I don't know what to do. I mutter something unintelligible about how difficult it makes things when a girl's too pretty. Even if I explained it to Saber, she wouldn't understand, but my mind's practically shorted out. May I come over there, Shiro? Oh, sure. For the first time, I realize she has a beautiful, perfect... What the fuck, Shiro? What the fuck? Shiro, you are a fucking degenerate. While Saber walks across the tatami mat floor to get close, I get off the futon and pull the blanket back for her. I realize I'm one pillow short for the two of us to sleep together, but it's too late. Saber and I slide side by side next to the futon. One room, one futon, but Saber's with me. I shouldn't be having any impure thoughts, but my face feels like it's on fire. I can't even look at Saber. Please go ahead, Shiro. You go ahead, Saber. Well, we're not going to get anywhere like this. So I hurry into the futon and make room for Saber. I thought I would give her the pillow, but she gently pushes it back to me. You should take this, Shiro. I like to use your arms as my pillow. Her words, barely a whisper, make my heart skip a beat. She's surprisingly calm as she nestles into my arms. It's like she's settled in herself more than I'm holding her. A blade and its sheath. I remember Saber's words. She's about to drift off, pillowed on my arm like a sword in its sheath. Her warm, soft scent is so close it calms me rather than excites me. Her hand reaches for mine. I dig it inside the blanket and entwine my fingers with hers. We drift off to sleep, in silence. But before that, I call out to her as she lay beside me. I want to ask her at the end. I want to hear again why I desire her so much. Do you feel it, Shiro? My magical energy should be fully replenished by tomorrow morning if we continue as we are. By tomorrow I will be able to fight as your servant. This is all I need, Shiro. My role is to protect you and obtain the Holy Grail. Until the war is over, I can't think of anything else. Do not agree, Shiro. You've decided to fight to end this war. I can't argue that point. If we want to solve our problems, we first need to end this war. To start, I won't be able to protect Saber unless I defeat the man who's after her. But, is there any way for us to defeat the King of Heroes? While the two of us lie quiet, we look out into the tranquil darkness. I don't know how much time passes. My eyelids grow heavy and my body cries out for rest, but our entwined fingers stay warm. They totally... I can see so many places where the dialogue has to have been changed. And just, like, the plain black screen as well. Let's do our thinking tomorrow, Shiro. We may come up with a good idea tomorrow, and she just wants to sleep together like this. She holds my hand gently as she says so. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Good night, Shiro. When we wake, matters will return to normal. I lay my face close to hers and close my eyes. The last thing I see is Saber smiling warmly. I don't care if that moment of vulnerability was only for tonight. The hand holding mine right now is so warm. It's more than enough for me, and so I fall into a satisfied sleep. The end of battle. Once everything is over, I'm not sure I can keep holding this hand, and then silence settles in. Good gracious, that was a long single day of the game. I didn't think that the date thing would take so freaking long. Nor that Gilgamesh would just come out of left field and... Good gracious. It seems like it's going to be another stream of the Fate route, because I'm saving this here because my throat is parched. I've been going for 2.5 hours now. So yeah, I'm going to be calling the stream here as soon as it lets me. 15, Utopia. That feels like a conclusion chapter. There might be an epilogue chapter, but this 15 might be the last one. I'm checking the flowchart There is a dead end. The very first choice will have a dead end. That's going to be something interesting to experience in the next stream next Friday, provided we do not get Lost About 7 Part 2, because that is coming as well. But we are going to go back to title, and there is one thing I want to check before I fully call the stream. Go to the ending list. We have not missed any, although I don't know what this is about. I didn't realize this could be clicked on. I just saw the little tiger symbol there, and the meat. I have no idea what this all is about. Poor Sakura. What the hell was that all about? Mini Theater 1. Okay. I have no idea what that was all about. I wanted to make note because when I did check this last time after the last stream, there was like a little bit of meat on the rock there or something, but that was not this did not happen that little tiger was not there, nor was I guess I never checked if I could hover over the meat, but that was random, weird, but also hilarious. And it's a much lighter note to end this stream of the Fate Stay Night Remaster on here. So, I've been Soul Dragon. I hope you've all enjoyed this stream. If you have, leave me some feedback in whichever way you so see fit. If you agree with me that they have definitely changed some of the verbiage and a lot of the context of things is missed with them just having Saber and Shiro sleep on top of one another, then make sure to like the video and drop a subscription so you know when more comes out. For now, though, thank you all so much for coming out. I hope you enjoyed. Have a fantastic evening, everybody.